The Book of Isaiah, Chapter 1. The vision of Isaiah the son of Amoz, which he saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem in the days of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah kings of Judah. Hear, heavens, and listen, earth, for the Lord has spoken. I have nourished and brought up children, and they have rebelled against me. The ox knows his owner, and the donkey his master's crib. But Israel doesn't know, my people don't consider. Ah, sinful nation, a people loaded with iniquity, a seed of evildoers, children who deal corruptly. They have forsaken the Lord, they have despised the Holy One of Israel. They are estranged and backward. Why should you be beaten more, that you revolt more and more? The whole head is sick, and the whole heart faint. From the sole of the foot even to the head there is no soundness in it. Wounds, welts, and open sores, they haven't been closed, neither bandaged, neither soothed with oil. Your country is desolate, your cities are burned with fire. Strangers devour your land in your presence, and it is desolate and overthrown by strangers. The daughter of Zion is left like a shelter in a vineyard, like a hut in a field of melons, like a besieged city. Unless the Lord of hosts had left to us a very small remnant, we would have been as Sodom, we would have been like Gomorrah. Hear the word of the Lord, you rulers of Sodom. Listen to the law of our God, you people of Gomorrah. What are the multitude of your sacrifices to me, says the Lord? I have had enough of the burnt offerings of rams, and the fat of fed animals. I don't delight in the blood of bulls, or of lambs, or of male goats. When you come to appear before me, who has required this at your hand, to trample my courts? Bring no more vain offerings. Incense is an abomination to me. New moons, Sabbaths, and convocations, I can't bear with evil assemblies. My soul hates your new moons and your appointed feast. They are a burden to me. I am weary of bearing them. When you spread forth your hands, I will hide my eyes from you. Yes, when you make many prayers, I will not hear. Your hands are full of blood. Wash yourselves, make yourself clean. Put away the evil of your doings from before my eyes. Cease to do evil. Learn to do well. Seek justice. Relieve the oppressed. Judge the fatherless. Plead for the widow. Come now, and let us reason together, says the Lord. Though your sins be as scarlet, they shall be white as snow. Though they be red like crimson, they shall be as wool. If you are willing and obedient, you shall eat the good of the land. But if you refuse and rebel, you shall be devoured with the sword, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken it. How the faithful city has become a prostitute. She was full of justice, righteousness lodged in her, but now murderers. Your silver has become dross, your wine mixed with water. Your princes are rebellious and companions of thieves. Everyone loves bribes and follows after rewards. They don't judge the fatherless, neither does the cause of the widow come to them. Therefore the Lord of hosts, the mighty one of Israel, says, I will get relief from my adversaries, and avenge myself of my enemies. And I will turn my hand on you, thoroughly purge away your dross, and will take away all your tin. I will restore your judges as at the first, and your counselors as at the beginning. Afterward you shall be called the city of righteousness, a faithful town. Zion shall be redeemed with justice, and her converts with righteousness. But the destruction of the transgressors and sinners shall be together, and those who forsake the Lord shall be consumed. For they shall be ashamed of the oaks which you have desired, and you shall be confounded for the gardens that you have chosen. For you shall be as an oak whose leaf fades, and as a garden that has no water. The strong will be like tinder, and his work like a spark. They will both burn together, and no one will quench them. Chapter 2. This is what Isaiah the son of Amoz saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. It shall happen in the latter days, that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established on the top of the mountains, and shall be raised above the hills, and all nations shall flow to it. Many people shall go and say, Come, Let's go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion the law shall go forth, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. He will judge between the nations, and will decide concerning many peoples, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more. House of Jacob, come, and let us walk in the light of the Lord. For you have forsaken your people, the house of Jacob, because they are filled from the east with those who practice divination like the Philistines, and they clasp hands with the children of foreigners. Their land is full of silver and gold, neither is there any end of their treasures. Their land also is full of horses, neither is there any end of their chariots. Their land also is full of idols. They worship the work of their own hands, that which their own fingers have made. Man is brought low, and mankind is humbled, therefore don't forgive them. Enter into the rock and hide in the dust from before the terror of the Lord and from the glory of his majesty. The lofty looks of man will be brought low, the haughtiness of men will be bowed down, and the Lord alone will be exalted in that day. For there will be a day of the Lord of hosts for all that is proud and haughty, and for all that is lifted up, and it shall be brought low. For all the cedars of Lebanon that are high and lifted up, for all the oaks of Bashan, for all the high mountains, for all the hills that are lifted up, for every lofty tower, for every fortified wall, for all the ships of Tarshish, and for all pleasant imagery. The loftiness of man shall be bowed down, and the haughtiness of men shall be brought low, and the Lord alone shall be exalted in that day. The idols shall utterly pass away. Men shall go into the caves of the rocks, and into the holes of the earth, from before the terror of the Lord, and from the glory of his majesty, when he arises to shake the earth mightily. In that day men shall cast away their idols of silver and their idols of gold, which have been made for themselves to worship, to the moles and to the bats, to go into the caverns of the rocks, and into the clefts of the ragged rocks, from before the terror of the Lord, and from the glory of his majesty, when he arises to shake the earth mightily. Stop trusting in man, whose breath is in his nostrils, for of what account is he? Chapter 3. For behold, the Lord of hosts, takes away from Jerusalem and from Judah supply and support, the whole supply of bread, and the whole supply of water, the mighty man, the man of war, the judge, the prophet, the diviner, the elder, the captain of 50, the honorable man, the counselor, the skilled craftsman, and the clever enchanter. I will give boys to be their princes, and children shall rule over them. The people will be oppressed, every one by another, and every one by his neighbor. The child will behave himself proudly against the old man, and the base against the honorable. Indeed, a man shall take hold of his brother in the house of his father, saying, You have clothing, you be our ruler, and let this ruin be under your hand. In that day he will cry out, saying, I will not be a healer, for in my house is neither bread nor clothing. You shall not make me ruler of the people. For Jerusalem is ruined, and Judah is fallen, because their tongue and their doings are against the Lord, to provoke the eyes of his glory. The look of their faces testify against them. They parade their sin like Sodom. They don't hide it. Woe to their soul, for they have brought disaster upon themselves. Tell the righteous good, for they shall eat the fruit of their deeds. Woe to the wicked, disaster is upon them, for the deeds of his hands will be paid back to him. As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. My people, those who lead you cause you to err, and destroy the way of your paths. The Lord stands up to contend, and stands to judge the peoples. The Lord will enter into judgment with the elders of his people, and their leaders. It is you who have eaten up the vineyard. The spoil of the poor is in your houses. Do you mean that you crush my people, and grind the face of the poor, says the Lord of hosts? Moreover, the Lord said, Because the daughters of Zion are haughty, and walk with outstretched necks and flirting eyes, walking to trip as they go, jingling ornaments on their feet. Therefore the Lord brings sores on the crown of the head of the women of Zion, and the Lord will make their scalps bald. In that day the Lord will take away the beauty of their anklets, the headbands, the crescent necklaces, the earrings, the bracelets, the veils, the headdresses, the ankle chains, the sashes, the perfume bottles, the charms, the signet rings, the nose rings, the fine robes, the capes, the cloaks, the purses, the hand mirrors, the fine linen garments, the tiaras, and the shawls. It shall happen that instead of sweet spices there shall be rottenness, instead of a belt, a rope, instead of well-set hair, baldness, instead of a robe, a girding of sackcloth, and branding instead of beauty. Your men shall fall by the sword, and your mighty men in the war. Her gate shall lament and mourn, and she shall be desolate, and sit on the ground. Chapter 4. 7 women shall take hold of one man in that day, saying, We will eat our own bread, and wear our own clothing, only let us be called by your name. Take away our reproach. In that day the Lord's branch will be beautiful and glorious, and the fruit of the land will be the beauty and glory of the survivors of Israel. It will happen that he who is left in Zion and he who remains in Jerusalem shall be called holy, even everyone who is written among the living in Jerusalem, when the Lord shall have washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion, and shall have purged the blood of Jerusalem from its midst, by the spirit of justice and by the spirit of burning. The Lord will create over the whole habitation of Mount Zion and over her assemblies a cloud and smoke by day, and the shining of a flaming fire by night, for over all the glory will be a canopy. There will be a pavilion for a shade in the daytime from the heat, and for a refuge and for a shelter from storm and from rain. Chapter 5. Let me sing for my well-beloved, a song of my beloved about his vineyard. My beloved had a vineyard on a very fruitful hill. He dug it up, gathered out its stones, planted it with the choicest vine, built a tower in its midst, and also cut out a winepress therein. He looked for it to yield grapes, but it yielded wild grapes. Now, inhabitants of Jerusalem and men of Judah, please judge between me and my vineyard. What could have been done more to my vineyard that I have not done in it? Why, when I looked for it to yield grapes, did it yield wild grapes? Now I will tell you what I will do to my vineyard. I will take away its hedge, and it will be eaten up. I will break down its wall, and it will be trampled down. I will lay it a wasteland. It won't be pruned nor hoed, but it will grow briars and thorns. I will also command the clouds that they rain no rain on it. For the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel, and the men of Judah his pleasant planting. And he looked for justice, but behold oppression, for righteousness, but behold a cry of distress. Woe to those who join house to house, who lay field to field until there is no room, and you are made to dwell alone in the midst of the land. In my ears the Lord of hosts says, Surely many houses will be desolate, even great and beautiful, unoccupied. For 10 acres of vineyard shall yield 1 bath, and a homer of seed shall yield an ephah. Woe to those who rise up early in the morning that they may follow strong drink, who stay late into the night until wine inflames them. The harp, lyre, tambourine, and flute with wine are at their feast, but they don't regard the work of the Lord, neither have they considered the operation of his hands. Therefore my people have gone into captivity for lack of knowledge. Their honorable men are famished, and their multitudes are parched with thirst. Therefore hell has enlarged its desire, and opened its mouth without measure, and their glory, their multitude, their pomp, and he who rejoices among them descend into it. So man is brought low, mankind is humbled, and the eyes of the arrogant ones are humbled. But the Lord of hosts is exalted in justice, and God, the Holy One, is sanctified in righteousness. Then the lambs will graze as in their pasture, and strangers will eat the ruins of the rich. Woe to those who draw iniquity with cords of falsehood, and wickedness as with cart rope, who say, Let him make speed. Let him hasten his work, that we may see it. And let the counsel of the Holy One of Israel draw near and come, that we may know it. Woe to those who call evil good, and good evil, who put darkness for light, and light for darkness, who put bitter for sweet, and sweet for bitter. Woe to those who are wise in their own eyes, and prudent in their own sight. Woe to those who are mighty to drink wine, and champions at mixing strong drink, who acquit the guilty for a bribe, but deny justice for the innocent. Therefore as the tongue of fire devours the stubble, and as the dry grass sinks down in the flame, so their root shall be as rottenness, and their blossom shall go up as dust. Because they have rejected the Lord's law, and despised the word of the Holy One of Israel. Therefore the Lord's anger burns against his people, and he has stretched out his hand against them, and has struck them. The mountains tremble, and their dead bodies are as refuse in the midst of the streets. For all this his anger is not turned away, but his hand is still stretched out. He will lift up a banner to the nations from afar, and he will whistle for them from the end of the earth. Behold, they will come speedily and swiftly. None shall be weary nor stumble among them. None shall slumber nor sleep, neither shall the belt of their loins be untied, nor the latchet of their shoes be broken, whose arrows are sharp, and all their bows bent. Their horses' hoofs will be like flint, and their wheels like a whirlwind. Their roaring will be like a lioness. They will roar like young lions. Yes, they shall roar, and seize their prey, and carry it off, and there will be no one to deliver. They will roar against them in that day like the roaring of the sea. If one looks to the land, behold, darkness and distress. The light is darkened in its clouds. Chapter 6. In the year that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord sitting on a throne, high and lifted up, and his train filled the temple. Above him stood the seraphim. Each one had 6 wings. With 2 he covered his face. With 2 he covered his feet. With 2 he flew. One called to another and said, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. The foundations of the threshold shook at the voice of him who called, and the house was filled with smoke. Then I said, Woe is me, for I am undone, because I am a man of unclean lips, and I dwell in the midst of a people of unclean lips, for my eyes have seen the King, the Lord of hosts. Then one of the seraphim flew to me, having a live coal in his hand, which he had taken with the tongs from off the altar. He touched my mouth with it and said, Behold, this has touched your lips, and your iniquity is taken away, and your sin is forgiven. I heard the Lord's voice saying, Whom shall I send, and who will go for us? Then I said, Here I am, send me. He said, Go and tell this people, You hear indeed, but don't understand, and you see indeed, but don't perceive. Make the heart of this people fat, make their ears heavy, and shut their eyes, lest they see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and turn again and be healed. Then I said, Lord, how long? He answered, Until cities are waste without inhabitant, and houses without man, and the land becomes utterly waste, and the Lord has removed men far away, and the forsaken places are many in the midst of the land. If there are yet 1/10 in it, it also shall be in turn eaten up. As a terebinth and as an oak whose stock remains when they are felled, so the holy seed is its stock. Chapter 7. It happened in the days of Ahaz the son of Jotham, the son of Uzziah king of Judah, that Rezin the king of Syria, and Pekah the son of Remaliah king of Israel, went up to Jerusalem to war against it, but could not prevail against it. It was told the house of David, saying, Syria is allied with Ephraim. His heart trembled, and the heart of his people, as the trees of the forest tremble with the wind. Then the Lord said to Isaiah, Go out now to meet Ahaz, you and Shear-Jashub your son, at the end of the conduit of the upper pool, on the highway of the fuller's field. Tell him, Be careful and keep calm. Don't be afraid, neither let your heart be faint because of these 2 tails of smoking firebrands, for the fierce anger of Rezin in Syria and of the son of Remaliah. Because Syria, Ephraim, and the son of Remaliah have plotted evil against you, saying, Let's go up against Judah and tear it apart, and let's divide it among ourselves, and set up a king in the midst of it, even the son of Tabeel. This is what the Lord God says, It shall not stand, neither shall it happen. For the head of Syria is Damascus, and the head of Damascus is Rezin. And within 65 years Ephraim shall be broken in pieces, so that it shall not be a people. And the head of Ephraim is Samaria, and the head of Samaria is Remaliah's son. If you will not believe, surely you shall not be established. The Lord spoke again to Ahaz, saying, Ask a sign of the Lord your God. Ask it either in the depth or in the height above. But Ahaz said, I will not ask, neither will I tempt the Lord. He said, Listen now, house of David. Is it not enough for you to try the patience of men, that you will try the patience of my God also? Therefore the Lord himself will give you a sign. Behold, the virgin will conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. He shall eat butter and honey when he knows how to refuse the evil and choose the good. For before the child knows to refuse the evil and choose the good, the land whose 2 kings you abhor shall be forsaken. The Lord will bring on you, on your people, and on your father's house, days that have not come, from the day that Ephraim departed from Judah, even the king of Assyria. It will happen in that day that the Lord will whistle for the fly that is in the uttermost parts of the rivers of Egypt, and for the bee that is in the land of Assyria. They shall come, and shall all rest in the desolate valleys, in the clefts of the rocks, on all thorn hedges, and on all pastures. In that day the Lord will shave with a razor that is hired in the parts beyond the river, even with the king of Assyria, the head, and the hair of the feet, and it shall also consume the beard. It shall happen in that day that a man shall keep alive a young cow and 2 sheep, and it shall happen that because of the abundance of milk which they shall give he shall eat butter, for everyone will eat butter and honey that is left in the midst of the land. It will happen in that day that every place where there were 1,000 vines at 1,000 silver shekels shall be for briars and thorns. People will go there with arrows and with bow, because all the land will be briars and thorns. All the hills that were cultivated with the hoe, you shall not come there for fear of briars and thorns, but it shall be for the sending forth of oxen and for the treading of sheep. Chapter 8. The Lord said to me, Take a large tablet and write on it with a man's pen, for Maher Shalal Hashbaz. And I will take to me faithful witnesses to record, Uriah the priest, and Zechariah the son of Jeberechiah. I went to the prophetess, and she conceived and bore a son. Then the Lord said to me, Call his name Maher Shalal Hashbaz, for before the child shall have knowledge to cry, My father and my mother, the riches of Damascus and the spoil of Samaria shall be carried away before the king of Assyria. The Lord spoke to me yet again, saying, Because this people have refused the waters of Shiloh that go softly, and rejoice in Rezin and Remaliah's son, now therefore, behold, the Lord brings up on them the waters of the river, strong and many, even the king of Assyria, and all his glory. And it shall come up over all its channels, and go over all its banks, and it shall sweep onward into Judah. It shall overflow and pass through. It shall reach even to the neck, and the stretching out of its wings shall fill the breadth of your land, Emmanuel. Make an uproar, O ye peoples, and be broken in pieces, and give ear, all of you far countries. Gird yourselves and be broken in pieces. Gird yourselves and be broken. Take counsel together, and it shall be brought to nothing. Speak the word, and it shall not stand, for God is with us. For the Lord spoke thus to me with a strong hand, and instructed me not to walk in the way of this people, saying, Don't you say a conspiracy, concerning all whereof this people say a conspiracy, neither fear their fear, nor be in dread of it. The Lord of hosts, him shall you sanctify, and let him be your fear, and let him be your dread. He shall be for a sanctuary, but for a stone of stumbling, and for a rock of offense, to both the houses of Israel, for a gin and for a snare to the inhabitants of Jerusalem. Many shall stumble thereon, and fall, and be broken, and be snared, and be taken. Bind up the testimony, seal the law among my disciples. I will wait for the Lord, who hides his face from the house of Jacob, and I will look for him. Behold, I and the children whom the Lord has given me are for signs and for wonders in Israel, from the Lord of hosts, who dwells in Mount Zion. When they shall tell you, consult with those who have familiar spirits, and with the wizards who chirp and who mutter. Shouldn't a people consult with their God? On behalf of the living should they consult with the dead? To the law and to the testimony. If they don't speak according to this word, surely there is no mourning for them. They shall pass through it, sore distressed and hungry. And it shall happen that when they shall be hungry, they shall fret themselves, and curse by their king and by their God, and turn their faces upward. And they shall look to the earth and see distress and darkness, the gloom of anguish, and into thick darkness they shall be driven away. Chapter 9. But there shall be no gloom to her who was in anguish. In the former time he brought into contempt the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali. But in the latter time has he made it glorious, by the way of the sea beyond Jordan, Galilee of the nations. The people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. Those who lived in the land of the shadow of death, on them has the light shined. You have multiplied the nation. You have increased their joy. They joy before you, according to the joy in harvest, as men rejoice when they divide the spoil. For the yoke of his burden, and the staff of his shoulder, the rod of his oppressor, you have broken as in the day of Midian. For all the armor of the armed man in the tumult, and the garments rolled in blood shall be for burning, for fuel for fire. For to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government shall be on his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and of peace there shall be no end, on the throne of David, and on his kingdom, to establish it, and to uphold it with justice and with righteousness from henceforth even forever. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will perform this. The Lord sent a word into Jacob, and it has lighted on Israel. All the people shall know, even Ephraim and the inhabitant of Samaria, who say in pride and in arrogance of heart, The bricks are fallen, but we will build with hewn stone. The sycamores are cut down, but we will put cedars in their place. Therefore the Lord will set up on high against him the adversaries of Rezin, and will stir up his enemies. The Syrians before, and the Philistines behind, and they shall devour Israel with open mouth. For all this his anger is not turned away, but his hand is stretched out still. Yet the people have not turned to him who struck them, neither have they sought the Lord of hosts. Therefore the Lord will cut off from Israel head and tail, palm branch and rush in one day. The elder and the honorable man, he is the head, and the prophet who teaches lies, he is the tail. For those who lead this people cause them to err, and those who are led of them are destroyed. Therefore the Lord will not rejoice over their young men, neither will he have compassion on their fatherless and widows. For everyone is profane and an evildoer, and every mouth speaks folly. For all this his anger is not turned away, but his hand is stretched out still. For wickedness burns as the fire, it devours the briars and thorns, yes, it kindles in the thickets of the forest, and they roll upward in a column of smoke. Through the wrath of the Lord of hosts is the land burnt up, and the people are as the fuel of fire, no man spares his brother. One shall snatch on the right hand and be hungry, and he shall eat on the left hand, and they shall not be satisfied. They shall eat every man the flesh of his own arm. Manasseh Ephraim, and Ephraim Manasseh, and they together shall be against Judah. For all this his anger is not turned away, but his hand is stretched out still. Chapter 10. Woe to those who decree unrighteous decrees, and to the writers who write perverseness, to turn aside the needy from justice, and to rob the poor of my people of their right, that widows may be their spoil, and that they may make the fatherless their prey. What will you do in the day of visitation, and in the desolation which shall come from far? To whom will you flee for help, And where will you leave your glory? They shall only bow down under the prisoners, and shall fall under the slain. For all this his anger is not turned away, but his hand is stretched out still. Woe, Assyrian, rod of my anger, the staff in whose hand is my indignation! I will send him against a profane nation, and against the people of my wrath will I give him a charge, to take the spoil, and to take the prey, and to tread them down like the mire of the streets. However, he doesn't mean so, neither does his heart think so, but it is in his heart to destroy, and to cut off not a few nations. For he says, Aren't my princes all of them kings? Isn't Calno as Carchemish? Isn't Hamath as Arpad? Isn't Samaria as Damascus? As my hand has found the kingdoms of the idols, whose engraved images did excel them of Jerusalem and of Samaria, shall I not, as I have done to Samaria and her idols, so do to Jerusalem and her idols? Therefore it shall happen, that when the Lord has performed his whole work on Mount Zion and on Jerusalem, I will punish the fruit of the stout heart of the king of Assyria, and the glory of his high looks. For he has said, By the strength of my hand I have done it, and by my wisdom, for I have understanding, and I have removed the bounds of the peoples, and have robbed their treasuries, and like a valiant man I have brought down those who sit on thrones. And my hand has found as a nest the riches of the peoples, and as one gathers eggs that are forsaken, I have gathered all the earth, and there was none that moved the wing, or that opened the mouth, or chirped. Shall the axe boast itself against him who hews with it? Shall the saw magnify itself against him who holds it, as if a rod should wield those who lift it up, or as if a staff should lift up him who is not wood? Therefore the Lord of hosts, will send among his fat ones leanness, and under his glory there shall be kindled a burning like the burning of fire. The light of Israel will be for a fire, and his Holy One for a flame, and it will burn and devour his thorns and his briars in one day. He will consume the glory of his forest, and of his fruitful field, both soul and body, and it shall be as when a standard-bearer faints. The remnant of the trees of his forest shall be few, so that a child may write them. It shall come to pass in that day, that the remnant of Israel, and those who are escaped of the house of Jacob, shall no more lean on him who struck them, but shall lean on the Lord, the Holy One of Israel, in truth. A remnant shall return, even the remnant of Jacob, to the mighty God. For though your people Israel be as the sand of the sea, only a remnant of them shall return. A destruction is determined, overflowing with righteousness. For a full end, and that determined, will the Lord of hosts, make in the midst of all the earth. Therefore thus says the Lord of hosts, My people who dwell in Zion, don't be afraid of the Assyrian, though he strike you with the rod, and lift up his staff against you after the manner of Egypt. For yet a very little while, and the indignation against you shall be accomplished, and my anger shall be directed to his destruction. The Lord of hosts will stir up against him a scourge, as in the slaughter of Midian at the rock of Oreb, and his rod will be over the sea, and he will lift it up after the manner of Egypt. It shall happen in that day, that his burden shall depart from off your shoulder, and his yoke from off your neck, and the yoke shall be destroyed by reason of fatness. He is come to Aiath, he is passed through Migron. At Michmash he lays up his baggage. They are gone over the pass. They have taken up their lodging at Geba. Ramah trembles, Gibeah of Saul is fled. Cry aloud with your voice, daughter of Galim. Listen, Laisha, you poor Anathoth. Madmenah is a fugitive. The inhabitants of Gebam flee for safety. This very day shall he halt at Nob. He shakes his hand at the mountain of the daughter of Zion, the hill of Jerusalem. Behold, the Lord of hosts will lop the bows with terror, and the high of stature shall be hewn down, and the lofty shall be brought low. He will cut down the thickets of the forest with iron, and Lebanon shall fall by a mighty one. Chapter 11. There shall come forth a shoot out of the stock of Jesse, and a branch out of his roots shall bear fruit. The Spirit of the Lord shall rest on him, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge and of the fear of the Lord. His delight shall be in the fear of the Lord, and he shall not judge after the sight of his eyes, neither decide after the hearing of his ears. But with righteousness shall he judge the poor, and decide with equity for the humble of the earth. And he shall strike the earth with the rod of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips shall he kill the wicked. Righteousness shall be the belt of his waist, and faithfulness the belt of his loins. The wolf shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid, and the calf and the young lion and the fattened calf together, and a little child shall lead them. The cow and the bear shall feed, their young ones shall lie down together, and the lion shall eat straw like the ox. The sucking child shall play on the hole of the asp, and the weaned child shall put his hand on the adder's den. They shall not hurt, nor destroy in all my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the Lord, as the waters cover the sea. It shall happen in that day, that the root of Jesse, who stands for an ensign among the people, to him shall the nations seek, and his resting place shall be glorious. It shall happen in that day, that the Lord will set his hand again the second time, to recover the remnant of his people who shall remain, from Assyria, and from Egypt, and from Pathros, and from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. He will set up a sign for the nations, and will assemble the outcast of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. The envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and those who vex Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. They shall fly down on the shoulder of the Philistines on the west. Together they shall despoil the children of the east, and they shall put forth their hand on Edom and Moab, and the children of Ammon shall obey them. The Lord will utterly destroy the tongue of the Egyptian sea, and with his scorching wind will he wave his hand over the river, and will strike it into 7 streams, and cause men to march over in sandals. There shall be a highway for the remnant of his people who shall remain from Assyria, like as there was for Israel in the day that he came up out of the land of Egypt. Chapter 12. In that day you will say, I will give thanks to you, Lord, for though you were angry with me, your anger has turned away, and you comfort me. Behold, God is my salvation. I will trust and will not be afraid. For the Lord is my strength and song, and he has become my salvation. Therefore with joy you shall draw water out of the wells of salvation. In that day you will say, Give thanks to the Lord, call on his name, declare his doings among the peoples, proclaim that his name is exalted. Sing to the Lord, for he has done excellent things. Let this be known in all the earth. Cry aloud and shout, you inhabitant of Zion, for great in the midst of you is the Holy One of Israel. Chapter 13. The burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amoz did see. Set up a sign on the bare mountain. Lift up the voice to them. Wave the hand, that they may go into the gates of the nobles. I have commanded my consecrated ones, yes, I have called my mighty men for my anger, even my proudly exulting ones. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, as of a great people. The noise of a tumult of the kingdoms of the nations gathered together. The Lord of hosts is mustering the host for battle. They come from a far country, from the uttermost part of heaven, even the Lord, and the weapons of his indignation, to destroy the whole land. Wail, for the day of the Lord is at hand. As destruction from the Almighty shall it come. Therefore shall all hands be feeble, and every heart of man shall melt, and they shall be dismayed. Pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman in travail. They shall look in amazement one at another. Their faces shall be faces of flame. Behold, the day of the Lord comes, cruel with wrath and fierce anger, to make the land a desolation, and to destroy the sinners out of it. For the stars of the sky and the constellations of it shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in its going forth, and the moon shall not cause its light to shine. I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity, and I will cause the arrogance of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. I will make a man more rare than fine gold, even a man than the pure gold of Ophir. Therefore I will make the heavens to tremble, and the earth shall be shaken out of its place, in the wrath of the Lord of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger. It shall happen that as the chase roe, and as the sheep that no man gathers, they shall turn every man to his own people, and shall flee every man to his own land. Every one who is found shall be thrust through, and every one who is taken shall fall by the sword. Their infants also shall be dashed in pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be rifled, and their wives ravished. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, who shall not regard silver, and as for gold they shall not delight in it. Their bows shall dash the young men in pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldeans' pride, shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be lived in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall shepherds make their flocks to lie down there. But wild animals of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and ostriches shall dwell there, and wild goats shall dance there. Wolves shall cry in their castles, and jackals in the pleasant palaces, and her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. Chapter 14. For the Lord will have compassion on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land, and the foreigner shall join himself with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. The people shall take them, and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord, for servants and for handmaids. And they shall take them captive, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. It shall happen in the day that the Lord shall give you rest from your sorrow, and from your trouble, and from the hard service in which you were made to serve, that you shall take up this parable against the king of Babylon, and say, How has the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. The Lord has broken the staff of the wicked, the scepter of the rulers, who struck the peoples in wrath with a continual stroke, who ruled the nations in anger, with a persecution that none restrained. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yes, the fir trees rejoice at you, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, Since you are laid low, no lumberjack is come up against us. Sheol from beneath is moved for you to meet you at your coming. It stirs up the dead for you, even all the chief ones of the earth. It has raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. All they shall answer and tell you, Are you also become weak as we? Are you become like us? Your pomp is brought down to Sheol, and the noise of your viols. The worm is spread under you, and worms cover you. How you are fallen from heaven, day-star, son of the morning! How you are cut down to the ground, who laid low the nations! You said in your heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God, and I will sit on the mountain of congregation in the uttermost parts of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will make myself like the Most High. Yet you shall be brought down to Sheol, to the uttermost parts of the pit. Those who see you shall gaze at you. They shall consider you, saying, Is this the man who made the earth to tremble, who shook kingdoms, who made the world as a wilderness, and overthrew the cities of it, who didn't let loose his prisoners to their home? All the kings of the nations, all of them sleep in glory, every one in his own house. But you are cast forth away from your tomb like an abominable branch, clothed with the slain, who are thrust through with the sword, who go down to the stones of the pit, as a dead body trodden under foot. You shall not be joined with them in burial, because you have destroyed your land, you have killed your people. The seed of evildoers shall not be named forever. prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, that they not rise up and possess the earth, and fill the surface of the world with cities. I will rise up against them, says the Lord of hosts, and cut off from Babylon name and remnant, and son's son, says the Lord. I will also make it a possession for the porcupine and pools of water, and I will sweep it with the broom of destruction, says the Lord of hosts. The Lord of hosts is sworn, saying, Surely, as I have thought, so shall it happen, and as I have purposed, so shall it stand, that I will break the Assyrian in my land, and on my mountains tread him under foot. Then shall his yoke depart from off them, and his burden depart from off their shoulder. This is the purpose that is purposed on the whole earth, and this is the hand that is stretched out on all the nations. For the Lord of hosts has purposed, and who shall annul it? And his hand is stretched out, and who shall turn it back? In the year that King Ahaz died was this burden. Don't rejoice, O Philistia, all of you, because the rod that struck you is broken. For out of the serpent's root shall come forth an adder, and his fruit shall be a fiery flying serpent. The firstborn of the poor shall feed, and the needy shall lie down in safety. And I will kill your root with famine, and your remnant shall be killed. Howl, gate, cry, city, you are melted away, Philistia, all of you. For there comes a smoke out of the north, and there is no straggler in his ranks. What then shall one answer the messengers of the nation? That the Lord has founded Zion, and in her shall the afflicted of his people take refuge. Chapter 15. The burden of Moab. For in a night Ar of Moab is laid waste, and brought to nothing. For in a night Kir of Moab is laid waste, and brought to nothing. They are gone up to Baith, and to Dibon, to the high places to weep. Moab wails over Nebo, and over Medeba. On all their heads is baldness, every beard is cut off. In their streets they gird themselves with sackcloth, on their housetops and in their broad places everyone wails, weeping abundantly. Heshbon cries out, and Elealeh, their voice is heard even to Jahaz. Therefore the armed men of Moab cry aloud, his soul trembles within him. My heart cries out for Moab, her nobles flee to Zoar, to Eglath Shelishelah. For by the ascent of Luhith with weeping they go up, for in the way of Horonaim they raise up a cry of destruction. For the waters of Nimrim shall be desolate, for the grass is withered away. The tender grass fails, there is no green thing. Therefore the abundance they have gotten, and that which they have laid up shall they carry away over the brook of the willows. For the cry has gone round about the borders of Moab, the wailing of it to Eglaim, and the wailing of it to Beer Elim. For the waters of Dimon are full of blood, for I will bring yet more on Dimon, a lion on them of Moab that escape, and on the remnant of the land. Chapter 16. Send you the lambs for the ruler of the land from Selah to the wilderness, to the mountain of the daughter of Zion. For it shall be that as wandering birds, as a scattered nest, so shall the daughters of Moab be at the fords of the Arnon. Give counsel, execute justice, make your shade as the night in the midst of the noonday. Hide the outcast, don't betray the fugitive. Let my outcast dwell with you. As for Moab, be a covert to him from the face of the destroyer. For the extortioner is brought to nothing, destruction ceases, the oppressors are consumed out of the land. A throne shall be established in loving kindness, and one shall sit thereon in truth in the tent of David, judging and seeking justice, and swift to do righteousness. We have heard of the pride of Moab, that he is very proud, even of his arrogance and his pride and his wrath. His boastings are nothing. Therefore shall Moab wail for Moab, everyone shall wail. For the raisin cakes of Kir-Hasheth shall you mourn, utterly stricken. For the fields of Heshbon languish, and the vine of Sibmah, and the lords of the nations have broken down the choice branches of it, which reached even to Jazir, which wandered into the wilderness. Its shoots were spread abroad, they passed over the sea. Therefore I will weep with the weeping of Jazeer for the vine of Sibmah. I will water you with my tears, Heshbon and Elealeh, for on your summer fruits and on your harvest the battle shout is fallen. Gladness is taken away, and joy out of the fruitful field, and in the vineyards there shall be no singing, neither joyful noise. Nobody shall tread out wine in the winepresses. I have made the vintage shout to cease. Why my heart sounds like a harp for Moab, and my inward parts for Kir-Heres. It shall happen, when Moab presents himself, when he wearies himself on the high place, and shall come to his sanctuary to pray, that he shall not prevail. This is the word that the Lord spoke concerning Moab in time past. But now the Lord has spoken, saying, Within 3 years, as the years of a hireling, the glory of Moab shall be brought into contempt, with all his great multitude, and the remnant shall be very small, and of no account. Chapter 17. The burden of Damascus. Behold, Damascus is taken away from being a city, and it shall be a ruinous heap. The cities of Aroer are forsaken. They shall be for flocks which shall lie down, and none shall make them afraid. The fortress shall cease from Ephraim, and the kingdom from Damascus, and the remnant of Syria. They shall be as the glory of the children of Israel, says the Lord of hosts. It shall happen in that day, that the glory of Jacob shall be made thin, and the fatness of his flesh shall wax lean. It shall be as when the harvester gathers the standing grain, and his arm reaps the ears. Yes, it shall be as when one gleans ears in the valley of Rephaim. Yet there shall be left therein gleanings, as the shaking of an olive tree, 2 or 3 berries in the top of the uppermost bough, 4 or 5 in the outermost branches of a fruitful tree, says the Lord, the God of Israel. In that day shall men look to their Maker, and their eyes shall have respect to the Holy One of Israel. They shall not look to the altars, the work of their hands, neither shall they have respect to that which their fingers have made, either the Asherim or the sun images. In that day shall their strong cities be as the forsaken places in the wood and on the mountain top, which were forsaken from before the children of Israel, and it shall be a desolation. For you have forgotten the God of your salvation, and have not been mindful of the rock of your strength. Therefore you plant pleasant plants, and set it with strange slips. In the day of your planting you hedge it in, and in the morning you make your seed to blossom. But the harvest flees away in the day of grief and of desperate sorrow. Ah, the uproar of many peoples, who roar like the roaring of the seas, and the rushing of the nations, that rush like the rushing of mighty waters. The nations shall rush like the rushing of many waters, but he shall rebuke them, and they shall flee far off, and shall be chased as the chaff of the mountains before the wind, and like the whirling dust before the storm. At evening, behold terror, and before the morning they are no more. This is the portion of those who despoil us, and the lot of those who rob us. Chapter 18. Ah, the land of rustling of wings, which is beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, that sends ambassadors by the sea, even in vessels of papyrus on the waters, saying, Go, you swift messengers, to a nation tall and smooth, to a people awesome from their beginning onward, a nation that measures out and treads down, whose land the rivers divide. All you inhabitants of the world, and you dwellers on the earth, when a sign is lifted up on the mountains, look, and when the trumpet is blown, listen. For thus has the Lord said to me, I will be still, and will see in my dwelling place, like clear heat in sunshine, like a cloud of dew in the heat of harvest. For before the harvest, when the blossom is over, and the flower becomes a ripening grape, he will cut off the sprigs with pruning hooks, and the spreading branches will he take away and cut down. They shall be left together to the ravenous birds of the mountains, and to the animals of the earth. And the ravenous birds shall summer on them, and all the animals of the earth shall winter on them. In that time shall a present be brought to the Lord of hosts from a people tall and smooth, even from a people awesome from their beginning onward, a nation that measures out and treads down, whose land the rivers divide, to the place of the name of the Lord of hosts, Chapter 19. The Burden of Egypt. Behold, the Lord rides on a swift cloud, and comes to Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall tremble at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. I will stir up the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight, every one against his brother, and every one against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. The spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst of it, and I will destroy the counsel of it. And they shall seek to the idols, and to the charmers, and to those who have familiar spirits, and to the wizards. I will give over the Egyptians into the hand of a cruel lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, says the Lord of hosts. The water shall fail from the sea, and the river shall be wasted and become dry. The rivers shall become foul, the streams of Egypt shall be diminished and dried up. The reeds and flags shall wither away. The meadows by the Nile, by the brink of the Nile, and all the sown fields of the Nile shall become dry, be driven away, and be no more. The fishermen shall lament, and all those who cast angle into the Nile shall mourn, and those who spread nets on the waters shall languish. Moreover, those who work in combed flax, and those who weave white cloth shall be confounded. The pillars of Egypt shall be broken in pieces. All those who work for hire shall be grieved in soul. The princes of Zoan are utterly foolish. The counsel of the wisest counselors of Pharaoh is become brutish. How do you say to Pharaoh, I am the son of the wise, the son of ancient kings? Where then are your wise men? And let them tell you now, and let them know what the Lord of hosts has purposed concerning Egypt. The princes of Zoan are become fools. The princes of Memphis are deceived. They have caused Egypt to go astray, who are the cornerstone of her tribes. The Lord has mixed a spirit of perverseness in the midst of her, and they have caused Egypt to go astray in every work of it, as a drunken man staggers in his vomit. Neither shall there be for Egypt any work which head or tail, palm branch or rush may do. In that day shall the Egyptians be like women, and they will tremble and fear because of the shaking of the hand of the Lord of hosts, when he shakes over them. The land of Judah shall become a terror to Egypt. Every one to whom mention is made of it shall be afraid, because of the purpose of the Lord of hosts which he purposes against it. In that day there shall be 5 cities in the land of Egypt that speak the language of Canaan, and swear to the Lord of hosts. One shall be called the city of destruction. In that day shall there be an altar to the Lord in the midst of the land of Egypt, and a pillar at the border of it to the Lord. It shall be for a sign and for a witness to the Lord of hosts in the land of Egypt. For they shall cry to the Lord because of oppressors, and he will send them a Savior and a defender, and he will deliver them. The Lord shall be known to Egypt, and the Egyptians shall know the Lord in that day. Yes, they shall worship with sacrifice and offering, and shall vow a vow to the Lord, and shall perform it. The Lord will strike Egypt, smiting and healing, and they shall return to the Lord, and he will be entreated of them, and will heal them. In that day shall there be a highway out of Egypt to Assyria, and the Assyrian shall come into Egypt, and the Egyptian into Assyria, and the Egyptians shall worship with the Assyrians. In that day shall Israel be the third with Egypt and with Assyria, a blessing in the midst of the earth, because the Lord of hosts has blessed them, saying, Blessed be Egypt my people, and Assyria the work of my hands, and Israel my inheritance. Chapter 20. In the year that Tartan came to Ashdod, when Sargon the king of Assyria sent him, and fought against Ashdod and took it, at that time the Lord spoke by Isaiah the son of Amos, saying, Go and loose the sackcloth from off your loins, and put your shoe from off your foot. He did so, walking naked and barefoot. The Lord said, Like as my servant Isaiah has walked naked and barefoot 3 years for a sign and a wonder concerning Egypt and concerning Ethiopia, so shall the king of Assyria lead away the captives of Egypt and the exiles of Ethiopia, young and old, naked and barefoot, with buttocks uncovered to the shame of Egypt. They shall be dismayed and confounded, because of Ethiopia their expectation, and of Egypt their glory. The inhabitant of this coastland shall say in that day, Behold, such is our expectation, where we fled for help to be delivered from the king of Assyria. And we, how shall we escape? 21. The burden of the wilderness of the sea. As the whirlwinds in the south sweep through it, it comes from the wilderness, from an awesome land. A grievous vision is declared to me. The treacherous man deals treacherously, and the destroyer destroys. Go up, Elam, besiege. Media, all the sighing of it I have made to cease. Therefore are my loins filled with anguish. Pangs have taken hold on me as the pangs of a woman in travail. I am pained so that I can't hear. I am dismayed so that I can't see. My heart flutters. Horror has frightened me. The twilight that I desired has been turned into trembling to me. They prepare the table. They set the watch. They eat, they drink. Rise up, you princes, anoint the shield. For thus has the Lord said to me, Go, set a watchman. Let him declare what he sees. And when he sees a troop, horsemen in pairs, a troop of donkeys, a troop of camels, he shall listen diligently with much heed. He cried as a lion, Lord, I stand continually on the watchtower in the daytime, and am set in my ward whole nights. And behold, here comes a troop of men, horsemen in pairs. He answered, Fallen, fallen is Babylon, and all the engraved images of her gods are broken to the ground. You, my threshing, and the grain of my floor, that which I have heard from the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, have I declared to you. The burden of Duma. One calls to me out of Seir, Watchman, what of the night? Watchman, what of the night? The watchman said, The morning comes, and also the night. If you will inquire, inquire, come back again. The burden on Arabia. In the forest in Arabia shall you lodge, you caravans of Dedanites. To him who was thirsty they brought water. The inhabitants of the land of Tamath did meet the fugitives with their bread. For they fled away from the swords, from the drawn sword, and from the bent bow, and from the heat of battle. For thus has the Lord said to me, Within a year, according to the years of a hireling, all the glory of Kedar shall fail, and the residue of the number of the archers, the mighty men of the children of Kedar, shall be few. For the Lord, the God of Israel, has spoken it. Chapter 22. The burden of the valley of vision. What ails you now, that you are wholly gone up to the housetops? You that are full of shouting, a tumultuous city, a joyous town. Your slain are not slain with the sword, neither are they dead in battle. All your rulers fled away together. They were bound by the archers. All who were found of you were bound together. They fled afar off. Therefore I said, Look away from me. I will weep bitterly. Don't labor to comfort me for the destruction of the daughter of my people. For it is a day of confusion, and of treading down, and of perplexity from the Lord of hosts in the valley of vision, a breaking down of the walls, and a crying to the mountains. Elam bore the quiver, with chariots of men and horsemen, and Kir uncovered the shield. It happened that your choicest valleys were full of chariots, and the horsemen set themselves in array at the gate. He took away the covering of Judah, and you did look in that day to the armor in the house of the forest. You saw the breaches of the city of David, that they were many, and you gathered together the waters of the lower pool, and you numbered the houses of Jerusalem, and you broke down the houses to fortify the wall. You made also a reservoir between the two walls for the water of the old pool. But you didn't look to him who had done this, neither did you have respect for him who purposed it long ago. In that day did the Lord of hosts, call to weeping, and to mourning, and to baldness, and to girding with sackcloth. And behold, joy and gladness, killing oxen and killing sheep, eating flesh and drinking wine. Let us eat and drink, for tomorrow we shall die. The Lord of hosts revealed himself in my ears. Surely this iniquity shall not be forgiven you until you die, says the Lord of hosts. Thus says the Lord of hosts, Go, get yourself to this treasurer, even to Shebna, who is over the house, and say, What are you doing here? And who has you here, that you have hewed out a tomb here? Cutting him out a tomb on high, chiseling a habitation for himself in the rock. Behold, the Lord, like a strong man, will hurl you away violently. Yes, he will wrap you up closely. He will surely wind you round and round, and toss you like a ball into a large country. There you shall die, and there shall be the chariots of your glory. You shame of your Lord's house! I will thrust you from your office, and from your station you shall be pulled down. It shall happen in that day, that I will call my servant Eliakim, the son of Hilkiah, and I will clothe him with your robe, and strengthen him with your belt, and I will commit your government into his hand, and he shall be a father to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and to the house of Judah. The key of the house of David will I lay on his shoulder, and he will open, and none will shut, and he will shut, and none will open. I will fasten him as a nail in a sure place, and he shall be there for a throne of glory to his father's house. They shall hang on him all the glory of his father's house, the offspring and the issue, every small vessel, from the cups even to all the pitchers. In that day, says the Lord of hosts, shall the nail that was fastened in a sure place give way, and it shall be hewn down and fall, and the burden that was on it shall be cut off, for the Lord has spoken it. Chapter 23. The burden of Tyre. Howl, you ships of Tarshish, for it is laid waste, so that there is no house, no entering in. From the land of Kittim it is revealed to them. Be still, you inhabitants of the coast, you whom the merchants of Sidon that pass over the sea have replenished. On great waters the seed of the she-whore, the harvest of the Nile was her revenue, and she was the market of the nations. Be ashamed, Sidon, for the sea is spoken, the stronghold of the sea, saying, I have not travailed, nor brought forth, neither have I nourished young men, nor brought up virgins. When the report comes to Egypt, they shall be sorely pained at the report of Tyre. Pass over to Tarshish, wail, you inhabitants of the coast. Is this your joyous city, whose antiquity is of ancient days, whose feet carried her afar off to sojourn? Who has purposed this against Tyre, the giver of crowns, whose merchants are princes, whose traffickers are the honorable of the earth? The Lord of hosts has purposed it, to stain the pride of all glory, to bring into contempt all the honorable of the earth. Pass through your land as the Nile, daughter of Tarshish. There is no restraint any more. He has stretched out his hand over the sea. He has shaken the kingdoms. The Lord has given commandment concerning Canaan, to destroy the strongholds of it. He said, You shall no more rejoice, you oppressed virgin daughter of Sidon. Arise, pass over to Kittim, even there you shall have no rest. Behold, the land of the Chaldeans, this people was not. The Assyrians founded it for those who dwell in the wilderness. They set up their towers, they overthrew the palaces of it, they made it a ruin. Howl, you ships of Tarshish, for your stronghold is laid waste. It shall come to pass in that day that Tyre shall be forgotten 70 years, according to the days of one king. After the end of 70 years it shall be to Tyre, as in the song of the prostitute. Take a harp, go about the city, you prostitute that has been forgotten. Make sweet melody, sing many songs, that you may be remembered. It shall happen after the end of 70 years, that the Lord will visit Tyre, and she shall return to her hire, and shall play the prostitute with all the kingdoms of the world on the surface of the earth. Her merchandise and her hire shall be holiness to the Lord. It shall not be treasured nor laid up, for her merchandise shall be for those who dwell before the Lord, to eat sufficiently, and for durable clothing. Chapter 24. Behold, the Lord makes the earth empty, and makes it waste, and turns it upside down, and scatters abroad the inhabitants of it. It shall be, as with the people, so with the priest, as with the servant, so with his master, as with the maid, so with her mistress, as with the buyer, so with the seller, As with the creditor, so with the debtor. As with the taker of interest, so with the giver of interest to him. The earth shall be utterly emptied, and utterly laid waste, for the Lord has spoken this word. The earth mourns and fades away. The world languishes and fades away. The lofty people of the earth do languish. The earth also is polluted under the inhabitants of it, because they have transgressed the laws, violated the statutes, broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore has the curse devoured the earth, and those who dwell therein are found guilty. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. The new wine mourns, the vine languishes, all the merry-hearted do sigh. The mirth of tambourines ceases, the noise of those who rejoice ends, the joy of the harp ceases. They shall not drink wine with a song, strong drink shall be bitter to those who drink it. The waste city is broken down, every house is shut up, that no man may come in. There is a crying in the streets because of the wine. All joy is darkened, the mirth of the land is gone. In the city is left desolation, and the gate is struck with destruction. For thus shall it be in the midst of the earth among the peoples, as the shaking of an olive tree, as the gleanings when the vintage is done. These shall lift up their voice, they shall shout, for the majesty of the Lord they cry aloud from the sea. Therefore glorify the Lord in the east, even the name of the Lord, the God of Israel, in the isles of the sea. From the uttermost part of the earth have we heard songs, glory to the righteous. But I said, I pine away, woe is me. The treacherous have dealt treacherously, yes, the treacherous have dealt very treacherously. Fear and the pit and the snare are on you, O inhabitant of the earth. It shall happen that he who flees from the noise of the fear shall fall into the pit, and he who comes up out of the midst of the pit shall be taken in the snare. For the windows on high are opened, and the foundations of the earth tremble. The earth is utterly broken, the earth is torn apart, the earth is shaken violently. The earth shall stagger like a drunken man, and shall sway back and forth like a hammock, and the disobedience of it shall be heavy on it, and it shall fall and not rise again. It shall happen in that day that the Lord will punish the host of the high ones on high, and the kings of the earth on the earth. They shall be gathered together, as prisoners are gathered in the pit, and shall be shut up in the prison, and after many days shall they be visited. Then the moon shall be confounded, and the sun ashamed, for the Lord of hosts will reign on Mount Zion, and in Jerusalem, and before his elders shall be glory. Chapter 25.
O Lord, you are my God. I will exalt you. I will praise your name. For you have done wonderful things, even counsels of old, in faithfulness and truth.
For you have made of a city a heap, of a fortified city a ruin, a palace of strangers to be no city, it shall never be built. Therefore shall a strong people glorify you, a city of awesome nations shall fear you. For you have been a stronghold to the poor, a stronghold to the needy in his distress, a refuge from the storm, a shade from the heat, when the blast of the awesome ones is as a storm against the wall. As the heat in a dry place will you bring down the noise of strangers. As the heat by the shade of a cloud, the song of the awesome ones shall be brought low. In this mountain will the Lord of hosts make to all peoples a feast of fat things, a feast of wine on the lees, of fat things full of marrow, of wines on the lees well refined. He will destroy in this mountain the surface of the covering that covers all peoples, and the veil that is spread over all nations. He has swallowed up death forever, and the Lord God will wipe away tears from off all faces, and the reproach of his people will he take away from off all the earth, for the Lord has spoken it. It shall be said in that day, Behold, this is our God. We have waited for him, and he will save us. This is the Lord. We have waited for him. We will be glad and rejoice in his salvation. For in this mountain will the hand of the Lord rest, and Moab shall be trodden down in his place, even as straw is trodden down in the water of the dunghill. He shall spread forth his hands in the midst of it, as he who swims spreads forth his hands to swim. But the Lord will lay low his pride together with the craft of his hands. The high fortress of your walls has he brought down, laid low, and brought to the ground, even to the dust. Chapter 26. In that day shall this song be sung in the land of Judah. We have a strong city. Salvation will he appoint for walls and bulwarks. Open you the gates, that the righteous nation which keeps faith may enter in. You will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on you, because he trusts in you. Trust in the Lord forever, for in the Lord is an everlasting rock. For he has brought down those who dwell on high, the lofty city, he lays it low. He lays it low even to the ground, he brings it even to the dust. The foot shall tread it down, even the feet of the poor and the steps of the needy. The way of the just is uprightness. You that are upright do direct the path of the just. Yes, in the way of your judgments, Lord, have we waited for you. To your name, even to your memorial name, is the desire of our soul. With my soul have I desired you in the night. Yes, with my spirit within me will I seek you earnestly. For when your judgments are in the earth, the inhabitants of the world learn righteousness. Let favor be shown to the wicked, yet he will not learn righteousness. In the land of uprightness he will deal wrongfully, and will not see the majesty of the Lord. O Lord, your hand is lifted up, yet they don't see. But they shall see your zeal for the people, and be disappointed. Yes, fire shall devour all your adversaries. O Lord, you will ordain peace for us, for you have also worked all our works for us. O Lord our God, other lords besides you have had dominion over us, but by you only will we make mention of your name. They are dead, they shall not live. They are deceased, they shall not rise. Therefore have you visited and destroyed them, and made all memory of them to perish. You have increased the nation, O Lord. You have increased the nation. You are glorified. You have enlarged all the borders of the land. O Lord, in trouble have they visited you. They poured out a prayer when your chastening was on them. Like as a woman with child, who draws near the time of her delivery, is in pain, and cries out in her pangs, so we have been before you, Lord. We have been with child, we have been in pain. We have, as it were, brought forth wind. We have not worked any deliverance in the earth, neither have the inhabitants of the world fallen. Your dead shall live, my dead body shall arise. Awake and sing, you who dwell in the dust, for your dew is as the dew of herbs, and the earth shall cast forth the dead. Come, my people, enter you into your chambers, and shut your doors about you. Hide yourself for a little moment, until the indignation be past. For behold, the Lord comes forth out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. The earth also shall disclose her blood, and shall no more cover her slain. Chapter 27. In that day the Lord with his hard and great and strong sword will punish Leviathan the swift serpent, and Leviathan the crooked serpent, and he will kill the monster that is in the sea. In that day a vineyard of wine sing to it. I am the Lord, its keeper. I will water it every moment, lest any hurt it. I will keep it night and day. Wrath is not in me. Would that the briars and thorns were against me in battle. I would march on them, I would burn them together. Or else let him take hold of my strength, that he may make peace with me. Yes, let him make peace with me. In days to come shall Jacob take root. Israel shall blossom and bud, and they shall fill the surface of the world with fruit. Has he struck them as he struck those who struck them? Or are they slain according to the slaughter of those who were slain by them? In measure, when you send them away, you do contend with them. He has removed them with his rough blast in the day of the east wind. Therefore by this shall the iniquity of Jacob be forgiven. And this is all the fruit of taking away his sin, that he makes all the stones of the altar as chalk stones, that are beaten asunder, so that the Asherim and the sun images shall rise no more. For the fortified city is solitary, a habitation deserted and forsaken, like the wilderness. There shall the calf feed, and there shall he lie down, and consume the branches of it. When the boughs of it are withered, they shall be broken off. The women shall come and set them on fire, for it is a people of no understanding. Therefore he who made them will not have compassion on them, and he who formed them will show them no favor. It shall happen in that day that the Lord will beat off his fruit from the flood of the river to the brook of Egypt, and you shall be gathered one by one, you children of Israel. It shall happen in that day that a great trumpet shall be blown, and they shall come who were ready to perish in the land of Assyria, and those who were outcast in the land of Egypt, and they shall worship the Lord in the holy mountain at Jerusalem. Chapter 28. Woe to the crown pride of the drunkards of Ephraim, and to the fading flower of his glorious beauty, which is on the head of the fat valley of those who are overcome with wine. Behold, the Lord has a mighty and strong one, as a tempest of hail, a destroying storm, a tempest of mighty waters overflowing will he cast down to the earth with the hand. The crown of pride of the drunkards of Ephraim shall be trodden under foot, and the fading flower of his glorious beauty, which is on the head of the fat valley, shall be as the first ripe fig before the summer, which when he who looks on it sees, while it is yet in his hand he eats it up. In that day will the Lord of hosts become a crown of glory, and a diadem of beauty to the residue of his people, and a spirit of justice to him who sits in judgment, and strength to those who turn back the battle at the gate. Even these reel with wine, and stagger with strong drink. The priest and the prophet reel with strong drink. They are swallowed up of wine. They stagger with strong drink. They err in vision. They stumble in judgment. For all tables are full of vomit and filthiness, so that there is no place clean. Whom will he teach knowledge? And whom will he make to understand the message? Those who are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast? For it is precept on precept, precept on precept, line on line, line on line, here a little, there a little. No, but by men of strange lips and with another language will he speak to this people, to whom he said, This is the rest. Give you rest to him who is weary. And this is the refreshing, yet they would not hear. Therefore shall the word of the Lord be to them precept on precept, line on line, here a little, there a little, that they may go and fall backward and be broken and snared and taken. Why hear the word of the Lord, you scoffers that rule this people that is in Jerusalem? Because you have said, We have made a covenant with death, and with the grave are we at agreement. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, it shall not come to us. For we have made lies our refuge, and under falsehood have we hid ourselves. Therefore thus says the Lord God, Behold, I lay in Zion for a foundation a stone, a tried stone, a precious cornerstone of a sure foundation. He who believes shall not be in haste. I will make justice the line, and righteousness the plummet, and the hail shall sweep away the refuge of lies, and the waters shall overflow the hiding place. Your covenant with death shall be annulled, and your agreement with the grave shall not stand. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, then you shall be trodden down by it. As often as it passes through, it shall take you, for morning by morning shall it pass through, by day and by night, and it shall be nothing but terror to understand the message. For the bed is shorter than that a man can stretch himself on it, and the covering narrower than that he can wrap himself in it. For the Lord will rise up as on Mount Perazim. He will be angry as in the valley of Gibeon, that he may do his work, his strange work, and bring to pass his act, his strange act.
Now therefore don't you be scoffers, lest your bonds be made strong. For a decree of destruction have I heard from the Lord of hosts on the whole earth. Give ear and hear my voice, listen and hear my speech. Does he who plows to sow plow continually? Does he continually open and harrow his ground? When he has leveled the surface of it, doesn't he cast abroad the dill, and scatter the cumin, and put in the wheat in rows, and the barley in the appointed place, and the spelt in its borders?
For his God does instruct him aright, and does teach him. For the dill are not threshed with a sharp threshing instrument, neither is a cartwheel turned about on the cumin. But the dill are beaten out with a staff, and the cumin with a rod. Bread grain is ground, for he will not always be threshing it. And though the wheel of his cart and his horses scatter it, he does not grind it. This also comes forth from the Lord of hosts, who is wonderful in counsel, and excellent in wisdom. Chapter 29. Ho, Ariel, Ariel, the city where David encamped. Add you year to year, let the feast come round. Then will I distress Ariel, and there shall be mourning and lamentation, and she shall be to me as Ariel. I will encamp against you round about, and will lay siege against you with posted troops, and I will raise siege works against you. You shall be brought down, and shall speak out of the ground, and your speech shall be brought low out of the dust, and your voice shall be as of one who has a familiar spirit, out of the ground, and your speech shall whisper out of the dust. But the multitude of your foes shall be like small dust, and the multitude of the awesome ones as chaff that passes away. Yes, it shall be in an instant, suddenly. She shall be visited of the Lord of hosts with thunder, and with earthquake, and great noise, with whirlwind and tempest, and the flame of a devouring fire. The multitude of all the nations that fight against Ariel, even all who fight against her in her stronghold and who distress her, shall be as a dream, a vision of the night. It shall be as when a hungry man dreams, and behold, he eats, but he awakes, and his soul is empty. Or as when a thirsty man dreams, and behold, he drinks, but he awakes, and behold, he is faint, and his soul has appetite. So shall the multitude of all the nations be that fight against Mount Zion. Stay you and wonder, take your pleasure and be blind. They are drunken, but not with wine. They stagger, but not with strong drink. For the Lord has poured out on you the spirit of deep sleep, and has closed your eyes, the prophets, and your heads the seers he has covered. All vision is become to you as the words of a book that is sealed, which men deliver to one who is learned, saying, Read this, I pray you. And he says, I can't, for it is sealed. And the book is delivered to him who is not learned, saying, Read this, I pray you. And he says, I am not learned. The Lord said, Because this people draw near to me with their mouth and with their lips to honor me, but have removed their heart far from me, and the fear of me is a commandment of men which has been taught them. Therefore, behold, I will proceed to do a marvelous work among this people, even a marvelous work and a wonder, and the wisdom of their wise men shall perish, and the understanding of their prudent men shall be hid. Woe to those who hide deep their counsel from the Lord, and whose works are in the dark, who say, Who sees us, and who knows us? You turn things upside down. Shall the potter be esteemed as clay, that the thing made should say of him who made it, He didn't make me? Or the thing formed say of him who formed it, He has no understanding? Is it not yet a very little while, and Lebanon shall be turned into a fruitful field, and the fruitful field shall be esteemed as a forest? In that day shall the deaf hear the words of the book, and the eyes of the blind shall see out of obscurity and out of darkness. The humble also shall increase their joy in the Lord, and the poor among men shall rejoice in the Holy One of Israel. For the terrible one is brought to nothing, and the scoffer ceases, and all those who watch for iniquity are cut off, that make a man an offender in his cause, and lay a snare for him who reproves in the gate, and turn aside the just with a thing of nothing. Therefore thus says the Lord, who redeemed Abraham, concerning the house of Jacob, Jacob shall not now be ashamed, neither shall his face now wax pale. But when he sees his children, the work of my hands in the midst of him, they shall sanctify my name. Yes, they shall sanctify the Holy One of Jacob, and shall stand in awe of the God of Israel. They also who err in spirit shall come to understanding, and those who murmur shall receive instruction. Chapter 30. Woe to the rebellious children, says the Lord, who take counsel, but not of me, and who make a league, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin, that set out to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to take refuge in the shadow of Egypt. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the refuge in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. For their princes are at Zoan, and their ambassadors are come to Hanes. They shall all be ashamed because of a people that can't profit them, that are not a help, nor profit, but a shame, and also a reproach. The burden of the animals of the south. Through the land of trouble and anguish, from whence came the lioness and the lion, the viper, and the fiery flying serpent, they carry their riches on the shoulders of young donkeys, and their treasures on the humps of camels, to a people that shall not profit them. For Egypt helps in vain, and to no purpose. Therefore have I called her Rahab, who sits still. Now go, write it before them on a tablet, and inscribe it in a book, that it may be for the time to come forever and ever. For it is a rebellious people, lying children, children who will not hear the law of the Lord, who tell the seers, don't see, and to the prophets, don't prophesy to us right things, speak to us smooth things, prophesy deceits. Get out of the way, turn aside out of the path, cause the Holy One of Israel to cease from before us. Therefore thus says the Holy One of Israel, because you despise this word, and trust in oppression and perverseness, and rely thereon, therefore this iniquity shall be to you as a breach ready to fall, swelling out in a high wall, whose breaking comes suddenly in an instant. He shall break it as a potter's vessel is broken, breaking it in pieces without sparing, so that there shall not be found among the pieces of it a broken piece with which to take fire from the hearth, or to dip up water out of the cistern. For thus says the Lord, the Holy One of Israel, in returning in rest shall you be saved, in quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. You would not, but you said, No, for we will flee on horses, therefore shall you flee, and we will ride on the swift, therefore shall those who pursue you be swift. 1,000 shall flee at the threat of one, at the threat of 5 shall you flee, until you be left as a beacon on the top of a mountain, and as a sign on a hill. Therefore will the Lord wait, that he may be gracious to you, and therefore he will be exalted, that he may have mercy on you. For the Lord is a God of justice, blessed are all those who wait on him. For the people shall dwell in Zion, at Jerusalem, you shall weep no more. He will surely be gracious to you at the voice of your cry. When he shall hear, he will answer you. Though the Lord give you the bread of adversity and the water of affliction, yet shall not your teachers be hidden any more, but your eyes shall see your teachers, and your ears shall hear a word behind you saying, This is the way, walk you in it, when you turn to the right hand and when you turn to the left. You shall defile the overlaying of your engraved images of silver, and the plating of your molten images of gold. You shall cast them away as an unclean thing. You shall tell it, Get you hence. He will give you the rain for your seed, with which you shall sow the ground, and the bread of the increase of the ground, and it will be fat and plenteous. And that day will your cattle feed in large pastures. The oxen likewise and the young donkeys that till the ground will eat savory provender, which has been winnowed with the shovel and with the fork. There will be on every lofty mountain, and on every high hill, brooks and streams of water, in the day of great slaughter when the towers fall. Moreover, the light of the moon will be as the light of the sun, and the light of the sun will be sevenfold as the light of 7 days, in the day that the Lord binds up the hurt of his people, and heals the stroke of their wound. Behold, the name of the Lord comes from far, burning with his anger, and in thick rising smoke. His lips are full of indignation, and his tongue is as a devouring fire, and his breath is as an overflowing stream that reaches even to the neck, to sift the nations with the sieve of destruction, and a bridle that causes to err shall be in the jaws of the peoples. You will have a song as in the night, when a holy feast is kept, and gladness of heart, as when one goes with a pipe to come to the mountain of the Lord, to the rock of Israel. The Lord will cause his glorious voice to be heard, and will show the lighting down of his arm, with the indignation of his anger, and the flame of a devouring fire, with a blast and tempest and hailstones. For through the voice of the Lord shall the Assyrian be dismayed, with his rod will he strike him. Every stroke of the appointed staff which the Lord will lay on him will be with the sound of tambourines and harps, and in battles with the brandishing of his arm will he fight with them. For a furnace is prepared of old, yes, for the king it is made ready. He has made it deep and large. The pile of it is fire, and much wood. The breath of the Lord, like a stream of sulphur, does kindle it. Chapter 31. Woe to those who go down to Egypt for help and rely on horses, and trust in chariots because they are many, and in horsemen because they are very strong, but they don't look to the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord. Yet he also is wise, and will bring evil, and will not call back his words, but will arise against the house of the evildoers, and against the help of those who work iniquity. Now the Egyptians are men and not God, and their horses flesh and not spirit. And when the Lord shall stretch out his hand, both he who helps shall stumble, and he who is helped shall fall, and they shall all be consumed together. For thus says the Lord to me, as the lion and the young lion growling over his prey, if a multitude of shepherds are called forth against him, will not be dismayed at their voice, nor abase himself for the noise of them, so will the Lord of hosts come down to fight on Mount Zion, and on the hill of it. As birds hovering, so will the Lord of hosts protect Jerusalem. He will protect and deliver it. He will pass over and preserve it. Turn you to him from whom you have deeply revolted, children of Israel. For in that day they shall cast away every man his idols of silver, and his idols of gold, which your own hands have made to you for a sin. The Assyrian shall fall by the sword, not of man, and the sword, not of men, shall devour him. And he shall flee from the sword, and his young men shall become subject to forced labor. His rock shall pass away by reason of terror, and his princes shall be dismayed at the sign, says the Lord, whose fire is in Zion, and his furnace in Jerusalem. Chapter 32. Behold, a king shall reign in righteousness, and princes shall rule in justice. A man shall be as a hiding place from the wind, and a covert from the tempest, as streams of water in a dry place, as the shade of a great rock in a weary land. The eyes of those who see shall not be dim, and the ears of those who hear shall listen. The heart of the rash shall understand knowledge, and the tongue of the stammerer shall be ready to speak plainly. The fool shall be no more called noble, nor the scoundrel be highly respected. For the fool will speak folly, and his heart will work iniquity, to practice profanity, and to utter error against the Lord, to make empty the soul of the hungry, and to cause the drink of the thirsty to fail. The instruments of the churl are evil. He devises wicked devices to destroy the humble with lying words, even when the needy speaks right. But the noble devises noble things, and in noble things shall he continue. Rise up, you women who are at ease, and hear my voice, you careless daughters. Give ear to my speech. For days beyond a year you shall be troubled, you careless women, for the vintage shall fail, the harvest shall not come. Tremble, you women who are at ease. Be troubled, you careless ones. Strip yourselves and make yourselves naked, and gird sackcloth on your loins. They shall strike on the breast for the pleasant fields, for the fruitful vine. On the land of my people shall come up thorns and briars, yes, on all the houses of joy in the joyous city. For the palace shall be forsaken, the populous city shall be deserted. The hill and the watchtower shall be for dens forever, a joy of wild donkeys, a pasture of flocks, until the Spirit be poured out on us from on high, and the wilderness become a fruitful field, and the fruitful field be esteemed as a forest. Then justice shall dwell in the wilderness, and righteousness shall abide in the fruitful field. The work of righteousness shall be peace, and the effect of righteousness quietness and confidence forever. My people shall abide in a peaceable habitation, and in safe dwellings, and in quiet resting places. But it shall hail in the downfall of the forest, and the city shall be utterly laid low. Blessed are you who sow beside all waters, who send forth the feet of the ox and the donkey. Chapter 33. Woe to you who destroy, and you weren't destroyed, and deal treacherously, and they didn't deal treacherously with you. When you have ceased to destroy, you shall be destroyed, and when you have made an end of dealing treacherously, they shall deal treacherously with you. O Lord, be gracious to us. We have waited for you. Be our arm every morning, our salvation also in the time of trouble. At the noise of the thunder the peoples are fled. At the lifting up of yourself the nations are scattered. Your spoil shall be gathered as the caterpillar gathers. As locust leap shall men leap on it. The Lord is exalted, for he dwells on high. He has filled Zion with justice and righteousness. There shall be stability in your times, abundance of salvation, wisdom, and knowledge. The fear of the Lord is your treasure. Behold, their valiant ones cry outside. The ambassadors of peace weep bitterly. The highways lie waste. The wayfaring man ceases. The enemy has broken the covenant. He has despised the cities. He doesn't regard man. The land mourns and languishes. Lebanon is confounded and withers away. Sharon is like a desert, and Bashan and Carmel shake off their leaves. Now I will arise, says the Lord. Now I will lift up myself. Now I will be exalted. You shall conceive chaff. You shall bring forth stubble. Your breath is a fire that shall devour you. The peoples will be as the burning of lime, as thorns cut down, that are burned in the fire. Hear, you who are far off, what have I done? And you who are near, acknowledge my might. The sinners in Zion are afraid. Trembling has seized the godless ones. Who among us can dwell with the devouring fire? Who among us can dwell with everlasting burning? He who walks righteously and speaks blamelessly, he who despises the gain of oppression, who shakes his hands from taking a bribe, who stops his ears from hearing of blood, and shuts his eyes from looking on evil. He shall dwell on high. His place of defense shall be the munitions of the rocks. His bread shall be given him, his waters shall be sure. Your eyes shall see the King in his beauty. They shall see a land that reaches afar. Your heart shall muse on the terror. Where is he who counted? Where is he who weighed the tribute? Where is he who counted the towers? You shall not see the fierce people, a people of deep speech that you cannot comprehend, of a strange language that you cannot understand. Look on Zion, the city of our solemnities. Your eyes shall see Jerusalem, a quiet habitation, a tent that shall not be removed, the stakes whereof shall never be plucked up, neither shall any of the cords of it be broken. But there the Lord will be with us in majesty, a place of broad rivers and streams, in which shall go no galley with oars, neither shall gallant ship pass thereby. For the Lord is our judge, the Lord is our lawgiver, the Lord is our King, he will save us. Your rigging is untied. They could not strengthen the foot of their mast. They could not spread the sail. Then was the prey of great spoil divided. The lame took the prey. The inhabitants shall not say, I am sick. The people who dwell therein shall be forgiven their iniquity. Chapter 34. Come near, you nations, to hear, and listen, you peoples. Let the earth hear, and the fullness of it, the world and all things that come forth from it. For the Lord has indignation against all the nations, and wrath against all their host. He has utterly destroyed them. He has delivered them to the slaughter. Their slain also shall be cast out, and the stench of their dead bodies shall come up, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. All the host of the sky shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their host shall fade away, as the leaf fades from off the vine, and as a fading leaf from the fig tree. For my sword has drunk its fill in the sky. Behold, it shall come down on Edom, and on the people of my curse to judgment. The sword of the Lord is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams. For the Lord has a sacrifice in Bozrah, and a great slaughter in the land of Edom. The wild oxen shall come down with them, and the bulls with the bulls, and their land shall be drunken with blood, and their dust made fat with fatness. For the Lord has a day of vengeance, a year of recompense for the cause of Zion. The streams of Edom shall be turned into pitch, and the dust of it into sulfur, and the land of it shall become burning pitch. It shall not be quenched night nor day. The smoke of it shall go up forever. From generation to generation it shall lie waste. None shall pass through it forever and ever. But the pelican and the porcupine shall possess it, and the owl and the raven shall dwell therein. And he will stretch over it the line of confusion, and the plummet of emptiness. They shall call the nobles of it to the kingdom, but none shall be there, and all its princes shall be nothing. Thorns shall come up in its palaces, nettles and thistles in the fortresses of it, and it shall be a habitation of jackals, a court for ostriches. The wild animals of the desert will meet with the wolves, and the wild goat will cry to his fellow. Yes, the night monster will settle there, and will find her a place of rest. There shall the dart snake make her nest, and lay, and hatch, and gather under her shade. Yes, there shall the kites be gathered, every one with her mate. Seek you out of the book of the Lord, and read. No one of these shall be missing. None shall want her mate. For my mouth it has commanded, and his spirit it has gathered them. He has cast the lot for them, and his hand has divided it to them by line. They shall possess it forever. From generation to generation shall they dwell therein. Chapter 35. The wilderness and the dry land shall be glad, and the desert shall rejoice and blossom as the rose. It shall blossom abundantly, and rejoice even with joy and singing. The glory of Lebanon shall be given to it, the excellency of Carmel and Sharon. They will see the glory of the Lord, the excellency of our God. Strengthen you the weak hands, and confirm the feeble knees. Tell those who are of a fearful heart, be strong, don't be afraid. Behold, your God will come with vengeance. With the recompense of God he will come and save you. Then the eyes of the blind will be opened, and the ears of the deaf will be unstopped. Then will the lame man leap as a hart, and the tongue of the mute will sing. For in the wilderness shall waters break out, and streams in the desert. The glowing sand will become a pool, and the thirsty ground springs of water. And the habitation of jackals where they lay shall be grass with reeds and rushes. A highway will be there, and a way, and it will be called the way of holiness. The unclean will not pass over it, but it will be for him who walks in the way. Wicked fools will not go there. No lion will be there, nor will any ravenous animal go up there. They shall not be found there, but the redeemed shall walk there. And the ransom of the Lord will return, and come with singing to Zion, and everlasting joy will be on their heads, and they will obtain gladness and joy, and sorrow and sighing will flee away. Chapter 36. Now it happened in the 14th year of King Hezekiah, that Sennacherib king of Assyria came up against all the fortified cities of Judah, and took them. The king of Assyria sent Rabshakeh from Lachish to Jerusalem to King Hezekiah with a great army. He stood by the conduit of the upper pool in the highway of the fuller's field. Then came forth to him Eliakim the son of Hilkiah, who was over the household, and Shebna the scribe, and Joah the son of Asaph the recorder. Rabshakeh said to them, Say now to Hezekiah, Thus says the great king, the king of Assyria, What confidence is this in which you trust? I say, your counsel and strength for war are but vain words. Now on whom do you trust that you have rebelled against me? Behold, you trust on the staff of this bruised reed, even on Egypt, whereon if a man lean, it will go into his hand and pierce it. So is Pharaoh king of Egypt to all who trust on him. But if you tell me, We trust in the Lord our God, isn't that he whose high places and whose altars Hezekiah has taken away, and has said to Judah and to Jerusalem, You shall worship before this altar? Now therefore please give pledges to my master the king of Assyria, and I will give you 2,000 horses if you are able on your part to set riders on them. How then can you turn away the face of one captain of the least of my master's servants, and put your trust on Egypt for chariots and for horsemen? Am I now come up without the Lord against this land to destroy it? The Lord said to me, Go up against this land and destroy it. Then said Eliakim and Shebna and Joah to Rabshakeh, Please speak to your servants in the Syrian language, for we understand it, and don't speak to us in the Jews' language, in the ears of the people who are on the wall. But Rabshakeh said, Has my master sent me to your master and to you to speak these words? Has he not sent me to the men who sit on the wall, to eat their own dung and drink their own water with you? Then Rabshakeh stood and cried with a loud voice in the Jews' language, and said, Hear the words of the great king, the king of Assyria. Thus says the king, Don't let Hezekiah deceive you, for he will not be able to deliver you. Neither let Hezekiah make you trust in the Lord, saying, The Lord will surely deliver us. This city shall not be given into the hand of the king of Assyria. Don't listen to Hezekiah, for thus says the king of Assyria, Make your peace with me, and come out to me, and eat every one of you from his vine, and every one of his fig tree, and drink you every one the waters of his own cistern, until I come and take you away to a land like your own land, a land of grain and new wine, a land of bread and vineyards. Beware lest Hezekiah persuade you, saying, The Lord will deliver us. Has any of the gods of the nations delivered his land out of the hand of the king of Assyria? Where are the gods of Hamath and Arpad? Where are the gods of Sepharvaim? Have they delivered Samaria out of my hand? Who are they among all the gods of these countries that have delivered their country out of my hand, that the Lord should deliver Jerusalem out of my hand? But they held their peace, and answered him not a word, for the king's commandment was, saying, Don't answer him. Then came Eliakim the son of Hilkiah, who was over the household, and Shebna the scribe, and Joah the son of Asaph the recorder to Hezekiah with their clothes torn, and told him the words of Rabshakeh. Chapter 37. It happened, when King Hezekiah heard it, that he tore his clothes, and covered himself with sackcloth, and went into the house of the Lord. He sent Eliakim, who was over the household, and Shebna the scribe, and the elders of the priests covered with sackcloth, to Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amoz. They said to him, Thus says Hezekiah, This day is a day of trouble, and of rebuke, and of rejection. For the children have come to the birth, and there is no strength to bring forth. It may be that the Lord your God will hear the words of Rabshakeh, whom the king of Assyria his master sent to defy the living God, and will rebuke the words which the Lord your God has heard. Therefore lift up your prayer for the remnant that is left. So the servants of King Hezekiah came to Isaiah. Isaiah said to them, Thus shall you tell your master, Thus says the Lord, Don't be afraid of the words that you have heard, with which the servants of the king of Assyria have blasphemed me. Behold, I will put a spirit in him, and he shall hear news, and shall return to his own land, and I will cause him to fall by the sword in his own land. So Rabshakeh returned, and found the king of Assyria warring against Libnah, for he had heard that he had departed from Lachish. He heard say concerning Tirhakah the king of Ethiopia, He has come out to fight against you. When he heard it, he sent messengers to Hezekiah, saying, Thus shall you speak to Hezekiah king of Judah, saying, Don't let your God in whom you trust deceive you, saying, Jerusalem shall not be given into the hand of the king of Assyria. Behold, you have heard what the kings of Assyria have done to all lands, by destroying them utterly, and shall you be delivered? Have the gods of the nations delivered them, which my fathers have destroyed? Gozan, and Haran, and Reseph, and the children of Eden who were in Telassar? Where is the king of Hamath, and the king of Arpad, and the king of the city of Sepharvaim, of Hena and Ivah? Hezekiah received the letter from the hand of the messengers, and read it. And Hezekiah went up to the house of the Lord, and spread it before the Lord. Hezekiah prayed to the Lord, saying, O Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, who sits above the cherubim, you are the God, even you alone, of all the kingdoms of the earth, and you have made heaven and earth. Turn your ear, O Lord, and hear. Open your eyes, Lord, and behold, and hear all the words of Sennacherib, who has sent to defy the living God. Of a truth, Lord, the kings of Assyria have laid waste all the countries and their land, and have cast their gods into the fire, for they were no gods, but the work of men's hands, wood and stone, therefore they have destroyed them. Now therefore, O Lord our God, save us from his hand, that all the kingdoms of the earth may know that you are the Lord, even you only. Then Isaiah the son of Amoz sent to Hezekiah, saying, Thus says the Lord, the God of Israel, Whereas you have prayed to me against Sennacherib king of Assyria, this is the word which the Lord has spoken concerning him. The virgin daughter of Zion has despised you and ridiculed you. The daughter of Jerusalem has shaken her head at you. Whom have you defied and blasphemed? And against whom have you exalted your voice, and lifted up your eyes on high? Even against the Holy One of Israel. By your servants have you defied the Lord, and have said, With the multitude of my chariots I am come up to the height of the mountains, to the innermost parts of Lebanon, and I will cut down the tall cedars of it, and the choice fir trees of it, and I will enter into its farthest height, the forest of its fruitful field. I have dug and drunk water, and with the sole of my feet will I dry up all the rivers of Egypt. Have you not heard how I have done it long ago, and formed it of ancient times? Now have I brought it to pass, that it should be yours to lay waste fortified cities into ruinous heaps. Therefore their inhabitants were of small power. They were dismayed and confounded. They were as the grass of the field, and as the green herb, as the grass on the housetops, and as a field of grain before it is grown up. But I know your sitting down and your going out, and your coming in, and your raging against me. Because of your raging against me, and because your arrogance has come up into my ears, therefore will I put my hook into your nose, and my bridle in your lips, and I will turn you back by the way which you came. This shall be the sign to you. You shall eat this year that which grows of itself, and in the second year that which springs of the same, and in the third year sow and reap and plant vineyards and eat the fruit of it. The remnant that is escaped of the house of Judah shall again take root downward, and bear fruit upward. For out of Jerusalem shall go forth a remnant, and out of Mount Zion those who shall escape. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will perform this. Therefore thus says the Lord concerning the king of Assyria, He shall not come to this city, nor shoot an arrow there, neither shall he come before it with shield, nor cast up a mound against it. By the way that he came, by the same shall he return, and he shall not come to this city, says the Lord. For I will defend this city to save it for my own sake, and for my servant David's sake. The angel of the Lord went forth, and struck in the camp of the Assyrians 185,000. And when the men arose early in the morning, behold, these were all dead bodies. So Sennacherib king of Assyria departed, and went and returned, and lived at Nineveh. It happened, as he was worshipping in the house of Nisroch his god, that Adrammelech and Sharezer his son struck him with the sword, and they escaped into the land of Ararat. Esarhaddon his son reigned in his place. Chapter 38. In those days was Hezekiah sick to death. Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amoz, came to him and said to him, Thus says the Lord, Set your house in order, for you shall die and not live. Then Hezekiah turned his face to the wall and prayed to the Lord and said, Remember now, O Lord, I beg you, how I have walked before you in truth and with a perfect heart, and have done that which is good in your sight. Hezekiah wept sore. Then came the word of the Lord to Isaiah, saying, Go and tell Hezekiah, Thus says the Lord, the God of David your father, I have heard your prayer, I have seen your tears. Behold, I will add to your days 15 years. I will deliver you in this city out of the hand of the king of Assyria, and I will defend this city. This shall be the sign to you from the Lord, that the Lord will do this thing that he has spoken. Behold, I will cause the shadow on the steps which is gone down on the dial of Ahaz with the sun to return backward 10 steps. So the sun returned 10 steps on the dial whereon it was gone down. The writing of Hezekiah king of Judah when he had been sick and was recovered of his sickness. I said, In the noontide of my days I shall go down into the gates of Sheol. I am deprived of the residue of my years. I said, I shall not see the Lord in the land of the living. I shall see man no more with the inhabitants of the world. My dwelling place is removed, and is carried away from me as a shepherd's tent. I have rolled up like a weaver my life. He will cut me off from the loom. From day even to night will you make an end of me. I quieted myself until morning, as a lion, so he breaks all my bones. From day even to night will you make an end of me. Like a swallow or a crane, so did I chatter. I did moan as a dove. My eyes fail with looking upward. Lord, I am oppressed. Be my collateral. What shall I say? He has both spoken to me, and himself has done it. I shall go softly all my years because of the bitterness of my soul. Lord, by these things men live. Holy therein is the life of my spirit. You restore me and cause me to live. Behold, it was for my peace that I had great bitterness, but you have in love to my soul delivered it from the pit of corruption. For you have cast all my sins behind your back. For Sheol can't praise you, death can't celebrate you, those who go down into the pit can't hope for your truth. The living, he shall praise you as I do this day. The Father to the children shall make known your truth. The Lord is ready to save me. Therefore we will sing my songs with stringed instruments all the days of our life in the house of the Lord. Now Isaiah had said, Let them take a cake of figs, and lay it for a plaster on the boil, and he shall recover. Hezekiah also had said, What is the sign that I shall go up to the house of the Lord? Chapter 39. At that time, Merodach-Baladan, the son of Baladan, king of Babylon, sent letters and a present to Hezekiah, for he heard that he had been sick and was recovered. Hezekiah was glad of them, and showed them the house of his precious things, the silver and the gold, and the spices, and the precious oil, and the house of all his armor, and all that was found in his treasuries. There was nothing in his house, nor in all his dominion, that Hezekiah didn't show them. Then came Isaiah the prophet to King Hezekiah, and said to him, What did these men say, and from where did they come to you? Hezekiah said, They are come from a far country to me, even from Babylon. Then he said, What have they seen in your house? Hezekiah answered, All that is in my house have they seen. There is nothing among my treasures that I have not shown them. Then Isaiah said to Hezekiah, Hear the word of the Lord of hosts. Behold, the days are coming, when all that is in your house, and that which your fathers have laid up in store until this day, shall be carried to Babylon. Nothing shall be left, says the Lord. Of your sons who shall issue from you, whom you shall father, they shall take away, and they shall be eunuchs in the palace of the king of Babylon. Then said Hezekiah to Isaiah, Good is the word of the Lord which you have spoken. He said, moreover, For there shall be peace and truth in my days. Chapter 40. Comfort you, my people, says your God. Speak comfortably to Jerusalem and cry to her, that her warfare is accomplished, that her iniquity is pardoned, that she has received of the Lord's hand double for all her sins. The voice of one who cries, Prepare you in the wilderness the way of the Lord, make level in the desert a highway for our God. Every valley shall be exalted, and every mountain and hill shall be made low, and the uneven shall be made level, and the rough places a plain. And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken it. The voice of one saying, Cry. One said, What shall I cry? All flesh is grass, and all the glory of it is as the flower of the field. The grass withers, the flower fades, because the breath of the Lord blows on it. Surely the people is grass. The grass withers, the flower fades, but the word of our God shall stand forever. You who tell good news to Zion, go up on a high mountain. You who tell good news to Jerusalem, lift up your voice with strength. Lift up, don't be afraid, and say to the cities of Judah, Behold your God. Behold, the Lord God will come as a mighty one, and his arm will rule for him. Behold, his reward is with him, and his recompense before him. He will feed his flock like a shepherd. He will gather the lambs in his arm, and carry them in his bosom, and will gently lead those who have their young. Who has measured the waters in the hollow of his hand, and meted out the sky with the span, and comprehended the dust of the earth in a measure, and weighed the mountains in scales, and the hills in a balance? Who has directed the Spirit of the Lord, or being his counselor has taught him? With whom took he counsel, and who instructed him, and taught him in the path of justice, and taught him knowledge, and shown to him the way of understanding? Behold, the nations are as a drop of a bucket, and are accounted as the small dust of the balance. Behold, he takes up the isles as a very little thing. Lebanon is not sufficient to burn, nor the animals of it sufficient for a burnt offering. All the nations are as nothing before him. They are accounted by him as less than nothing and vanity. To whom then will you liken God? Or what likeness will you compare to him? The image, a workman has cast it, and the goldsmith overlays it with gold and casts for it silver chains. He who is too impoverished for such an offering chooses a tree that will not rot. He seeks to him a skillful workman to set up an engraved image that shall not be moved. Have you not known? Have you not heard? Has it not been told you from the beginning? Have you not understood from the foundations of the earth? It is he who sits above the circle of the earth, and the inhabitants of it are as grasshoppers, who stretches out the heavens as a curtain, and spreads them out as a tent to dwell in, who brings princes to nothing, who makes the judges of the earth as vanity. Yes, they have not been planted, yes, they have not been sown, yes, their stock has not taken root in the earth. Moreover, he blows on them and they wither, and the whirlwind takes them away as stubble. To whom then will you liken me, that I should be equal to him, says the Holy One? Lift up your eyes on high, and see who has created these, who brings out their host by number. He calls them all by name. By the greatness of his might, and because he is strong in power, not one is lacking. Why say you, Jacob, and speak, Israel, My way is hid from the Lord, and the justice due me is passed away from my God. Have you not known? Have you not heard? The everlasting God, the Lord, the Creator of the ends of the earth, doesn't faint, neither is weary. There is no searching of his understanding. He gives power to the faint, and to him who has no might he increases strength. Even the youth shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall. But those who wait for the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. Chapter 41. Keep silence before me, islands, and let the peoples renew their strength. Let them come near, then let them speak. Let us come near together to judgment. Who has raised up one from the east, whom he calls in righteousness to his foot? He gives nations before him, and makes him rule over kings. He gives them as the dust to his sword, as the driven stubble to his bow. He pursues them, and passes on safely, even by a way that he had not gone with his feet. Who has worked and done it, calling the generations from the beginning? I, the Lord, the first, and with the last, I am he. The isles have seen and fear. The ends of the earth tremble. They draw near and come. They help everyone his neighbor, and everyone says to his brother, Be of good courage. So the carpenter encourages the goldsmith, and he who smooths with the hammer him who strikes the anvil, saying of the soldering, It is good, and he fastens it with nails that it should not be moved. But you, Israel, my servant, Jacob, whom I have chosen, the seed of Abraham, my friend, you whom I have taken hold of from the ends of the earth, and called from the corners of it, and said to you, You are my servant, I have chosen you and not cast you away. Don't you be afraid, for I am with you. Don't be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. Yes, I will help you. Yes, I will uphold you with the right hand of my righteousness. Behold, all those who are incensed against you shall be disappointed and confounded. Those who strive with you shall be as nothing and shall perish. You shall seek them and shall not find them, even those who contend with you. Those who war against you shall be as nothing and as a thing of nothing. For I, the Lord your God, will hold your right hand, saying to you, Don't be afraid, I will help you. Don't be afraid, you worm Jacob, and you men of Israel, I will help you, says the Lord, and your Redeemer is the Holy One of Israel. Behold, I have made you to be a new sharp threshing instrument having teeth. You shall thresh the mountains and beat them small, and shall make the hills as chaff. You shall winnow them, and the wind shall carry them away, and the whirlwind shall scatter them, and you shall rejoice in the Lord. You shall glory in the Holy One of Israel. The poor and the needy seek water, and there is none, and their tongue fails for thirst. I, the Lord, will answer them. I, the God of Israel, will not forsake them. I will open rivers on the bare heights, and springs in the midst of the valleys. I will make the wilderness a pool of water, and the dry land springs of water. I will put in the wilderness the cedar, the acacia, and the myrtle, and the oil tree. I will set in the desert the fir tree, the pine, and the box tree together, that they may see and know, and consider and understand together, that the hand of the Lord has done this, and the Holy One of Israel has created it. Produce your cause, says the Lord. Bring forth your strong reason, says the King of Jacob. Let them bring forth and declare to us what shall happen. Declare you the former things, what they are, that we may consider them, and know the latter end of them, or show us things to come. Declare the things that are to come hereafter, that we may know that you are gods. Yes, do good or do evil, that we may be dismayed and see it together. Behold, you are of nothing, and your work is of nothing. An abomination is he who chooses you. I have raised up one from the north, and he has come. From the rising of the sun, one who calls on my name. And he shall come on rulers as on mortar, and as the potter treads clay. Who has declared it from the beginning, that we may know, and before, that we may say, He is right? Yes, there is none who declares. Yes, there is none who shows. Yes, there is none who hears your words. I am the first who says to Zion, Behold, behold them, and I will give to Jerusalem one who brings good news. When I look, there is no man, even among them there is no counselor, who, when I ask of them, can answer a word. Behold, all of them, their works are vanity and nothing. Their molten images are wind and confusion. Chapter 42. Behold my servant, whom I uphold, my chosen, in whom my soul delights. I have put my spirit on him. He will bring forth justice to the Gentiles. He will not cry, nor lift up his voice, nor cause it to be heard in the street. A bruised reed will he not break, and a dimly burning wick will he not quench. He will bring forth justice and truth. He will not fail nor be discouraged, until he have set justice in the earth, and the isles shall wait for his law. Thus says God, the Lord, who created the heavens and stretched them forth, he who spread abroad the earth and that which comes out of it, he who gives breath to the people on it, and spirit to those who walk therein. I, the Lord, have called you in righteousness, and will hold your hand, and will keep you, and give you for a covenant of the people, for a light of the Gentiles, to open the blind eyes, to bring out the prisoners from the dungeon, and those who sit in darkness out of the prison house. I am the Lord, that is my name, and my glory will I not give to another, neither my praise to engraved images. Behold, the former things have happened, and new things do I declare. Before they spring forth I tell you of them. Sing to the Lord a new song, and his praise from the end of the earth, you who go down to the sea and all that is therein, the isles and the inhabitants of it. Let the wilderness and the cities of it lift up their voice, the villages that Kedar does inhabit. Let the inhabitants of Selah sing. Let them shout from the top of the mountains. Let them give glory to the Lord, and declare his praise in the islands. The Lord will go forth as a mighty man. He will stir up his zeal like a man of war. He will cry, yes, he will shout aloud. He will do mightily against his enemies. I have long time held my peace. I have been still, and refrained myself. Now will I cry out like a travailing woman. I will gasp and pant together. I will lay waste mountains and hills, and dry up all their herbs. And I will make the rivers islands, and will dry up the pools. I will bring the blind by a way that they don't know, and in paths that they don't know will I lead them. I will make darkness light before them, and crooked places straight. These things will I do, and I will not forsake them. They shall be turned back. They shall be utterly disappointed who trust in engraved images, who tell molten images, you are our gods. Hear, you deaf, and look, you blind, that you may see. Who is blind but my servant, or deaf as my messenger whom I send? Who is blind as he who is at peace, and blind as the Lord's servant? You see many things, but don't observe. His ears are open, but he doesn't hear. It pleased the Lord for his righteousness' sake to magnify the law and make it honorable. But this is a people robbed and plundered. They are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses. They are for a prey, and none delivers, for a spoil, and none says, restore. Who is there among you who will give ear to this, who will listen and hear for the time to come? Who gave Jacob for a spoil, and Israel to the robbers? Didn't the Lord? He against whom we have sinned, and in whose ways they would not walk, neither were they obedient to his law. Therefore he poured on them the fierceness of his anger, and the strength of battle, and it set him on fire round about. Yet he didn't know, and it burned him, yet he didn't lay it to heart. Chapter 43. But now thus says the Lord who created you, Jacob, and he who formed you, Israel. Don't be afraid, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by your name. You are mine. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers, they shall not overflow you. When you walk through the fire, you shall not be burned, neither shall the flame kindle on you. For I am the Lord your God, the Holy One of Israel, your Savior. I have given Egypt as your ransom, Ethiopia and Seba in your place. Since you have been precious in my sight and honorable, and I have loved you, therefore will I give men in your place, and peoples instead of your life. Don't be afraid, for I am with you. I will bring your seed from the east, and gather you from the west. I will tell the north, give up, and to the south, don't keep back. Bring my sons from far, and my daughters from the end of the earth. everyone who is called by my name, and whom I have created for my glory, whom I have formed, yes, whom I have made. Bring forth the blind people who have eyes, and the deaf who have ears. Let all the nations be gathered together, and let the peoples be assembled. Who among them can declare this, and show us former things? Let them bring their witnesses that they may be justified, or let them hear and say, It is truth. You are my witnesses, says the Lord, and my servant whom I have chosen, that you may know and believe me, and understand that I am He. Before me there was no God formed, neither shall there be after me. I, even I, am the Lord, and besides me there is no Savior. I have declared, and I have saved, and I have shown, and there was no strange God among you. Therefore you are my witnesses, says the Lord, and I am God. Yes, since the day was, I am He, and there is none who can deliver out of my hand. I will work, and who can hinder it? Thus says the Lord your Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel. For your sake I have sent to Babylon, and I will bring down all of them as fugitives, even the Chaldeans, in the ships of their rejoicing. I am the Lord your Holy One, the Creator of Israel your King. Thus says the Lord, who makes a way in the sea, and a path in the mighty waters, who brings forth the chariot and horse, the army and the mighty man. They lie down together, they shall not rise, they are extinct, they are quenched as a wick. Don't remember the former things, neither consider the things of old. Behold, I will do a new thing. Now shall it spring forth, shall you not know it? I will even make a way in the wilderness, and rivers in the desert. The animals of the field shall honor me, the jackals and the ostriches, because I give waters in the wilderness, and rivers in the desert, to give drink to my people, my chosen, the people which I formed for myself, that they might set forth my praise. Yet you have not called on me, Jacob, but you have been weary of me, Israel. You have not brought me of your sheep for burnt offerings, neither have you honored me with your sacrifices. I have not burdened you with offerings, nor wearied you with frankincense. You have bought me no sweet cane with money, neither have you filled me with the fat of your sacrifices. But you have burdened me with your sins, you have wearied me with your iniquities. I, even I, am He who blots out your transgressions for my own sake, and I will not remember your sins. Put me in remembrance, let us plead together. Set forth your cause that you may be justified. Your first father sinned, and your teachers have transgressed against me. Therefore I will profane the princes of the sanctuary, and I will make Jacob a curse, and Israel a reviling. Chapter 44. Yet now hear, Jacob my servant, and Israel who I have chosen. Thus says the Lord who made you, and formed you from the womb, who will help you. Don't be afraid, Jacob my servant, and you, Jeshurun, whom I have chosen. For I will pour water on him who is thirsty, and streams on the dry ground. I will pour my spirit on your seed, and my blessing on your offspring, and they shall spring up among the grass, as willows by the watercourses. One shall say, I am the Lord's, and another shall call himself by the name of Jacob, and another shall subscribe with his hand to the Lord, and surname himself by the name of Israel. Thus says the Lord, the King of Israel and his Redeemer, the Lord of hosts. I am the first, and I am the last, and beside me there is no God. Who as I shall call and shall declare it, and set it in order for me, since I established the ancient people, and the things that are coming, and that shall happen, let them declare. Don't fear, neither be afraid. Haven't I declared to you of old, and shown it? You are my witnesses. Is there a God besides me? Indeed, there is not. I don't know any rock. Those who fashion an engraved image are all of them vanity, and the things that they delight in shall not profit, and their own witnesses don't see nor know, that they may be disappointed. Who has fashioned a god, or molten an image that is profitable for nothing? Behold, all his fellows shall be disappointed, and the workman, they are of men. Let them all be gathered together, let them stand up. They shall fear, they shall be put to shame together. The smith makes an axe, and works in the coals, and fashions it with hammers, and works it with his strong arm. Yes, he is hungry, and his strength fails. He drinks no water, and is faint. The carpenter stretches out a line. He marks it out with a pencil. He shapes it with planes, and he marks it out with the compasses, and shapes it after the figure of a man, according to the beauty of a man, to dwell in a house. He cuts down cedars for himself, and takes the cypress and the oak, and strengthens for himself one among the trees of the forest. He plants a fir tree, and the rain nourishes it. Then shall it be for a man to burn, and he takes of it and warms himself. Yes, he kindles it and bakes bread. Yes, he makes a god and worships it. He makes an engraved image and falls down to it. He burns part of it in the fire. With part of it he eats flesh. He roasts and is satisfied. Yes, he warms himself and says, Aha, I am warm, I have seen the fire. The residue of it he makes a god, even his engraved image. He falls down to it and worships and prays to it and says, Deliver me, for you are my God. They don't know, neither do they consider, for he has shut their eyes that they can't see, and their hearts that they can't understand. None calls to mind, neither is there knowledge nor understanding to say, I have burned part of it in the fire. Yes, also I have baked breads on the coals of it. I have roasted flesh and eaten it. And shall I make the residue of it an abomination? Shall I fall down to the stock of a tree? He feeds on ashes. A deceived heart has turned him aside, and he can't deliver his soul, nor say, Is there not a lie in my right hand? Remember these things, Jacob, and Israel, for you are my servant. I have formed you. You are my servant, Israel. You shall not be forgotten by me. I have blotted out as a thick cloud your transgressions, and as a cloud your sins. Return to me, for I have redeemed you. Sing, you heavens, for the Lord has done it. Shout, you lower parts of the earth. Break forth into singing, you mountains, O forest, and every tree therein. For the Lord has redeemed Jacob, and will glorify himself in Israel. Thus says the Lord your Redeemer, and he who formed you from the womb. I am the Lord, who makes all things, and who stretches forth the heavens alone, who spreads abroad the earth. Who is with me? Who frustrates the signs of the liars, and makes diviners mad, who turns wise men backward, and makes their knowledge foolish, who confirms the word of his servant, and performs the counsel of his messengers, who says of Jerusalem, She shall be inhabited, and of the cities of Judah, they shall be built, and I will raise up the waste places of it, who says to the deep, Be dry, and I will dry up your rivers, who says of Cyrus, He is my shepherd, and shall perform all my pleasure, even saying of Jerusalem, She shall be built, and of the temple your foundation shall be laid. Chapter 45. Thus says the Lord to his anointed, to Cyrus, whose right hand I have held, to subdue nations before him. And I will loose the loins of kings, to open the doors before him, and the gates shall not be shut. I will go before you and make the rough places smooth. I will break in pieces the doors of brass, and cut in sunder the bars of iron. And I will give you the treasures of darkness, and hidden riches of secret places, that you may know that it is I, the Lord, who call you by your name, even the God of Israel. For Jacob my servant's sake, and Israel my chosen, I have called you by your name. I have surnamed you, though you have not known me. I am the Lord, and there is none else. Besides me there is no God. I will gird you, though you have not known me, that they may know from the rising of the sun and from the west, that there is none besides me. I am the Lord, and there is no one else. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I am the Lord who does all these things. Shower, you heavens, from above, and let the skies pour down righteousness. Let the earth open, that it may bring forth salvation, and let it cause righteousness to spring up together. I, the Lord, have created it. Woe to him who strives with his Maker, a potsherd among the potsherds of the earth. Shall the clay ask him who fashions it, What are you making? Or your work, He has no hands. Woe to him who says to a father, What have you become the father of? Or to a woman, With what do you travail? Thus says the Lord, the Holy One of Israel, and his Maker, Ask me of the things that are to come, concerning my sons, and concerning the work of my hands, command you me. I have made the earth, and created man on it. I, even my hands, have stretched out the heavens, and all their host have I commanded. I have raised him up in righteousness, and I will make straight all his ways. He shall build my city, and he shall let my exiles go free, not for price nor reward, says the Lord of hosts. Thus says the Lord, the labor of Egypt, and the merchandise of Ethiopia and the Sabaeans, men of stature, shall come over to you, and they shall be yours. They shall go after you. In chains they shall come over, and they shall fall down to you. They shall make supplication to you. Surely God is in you, and there is none else, there is no other God. Most assuredly you are a God who hid yourself, God of Israel, the Savior. They shall be disappointed, yes, confounded, all of them. They shall go into confusion together, who are makers of idols. But Israel shall be saved by the Lord, with an everlasting salvation. You shall not be disappointed nor confounded, world without end. For thus says the Lord who created the heavens, the God who formed the earth and made it, who established it and didn't create it a waste, who formed it to be inhabited. I am the Lord, and there is no one else. I have not spoken in secret, in a place of the land of darkness. I didn't say to the seed of Jacob, Seek me in vain. I, the Lord, speak righteousness. I declare things that are right. Assemble yourselves and come. Draw near together, you who have escaped from the nations. They have no knowledge who carry the wood of their engraved image, and pray to a God that can't save. Declare you and bring it forth. Yes, let them take counsel together. Who has shown this from ancient time? Who has declared it of old? Haven't I, the Lord? And there is no God else besides me, a just God and a Savior. There is no one besides me. Look to me and be saved, all the ends of the earth. For I am God, and there is none else. By myself have I sworn. The word is gone forth from my mouth in righteousness, and shall not return, that to me every knee shall bow, every tongue shall swear. Only in the Lord it is said of me is righteousness and strength. Even to him shall men come, and all those who were incensed against him shall be disappointed. In the Lord shall all the seed of Israel be justified, and shall glory. Chapter 46. Bel bows down, Nebo stoops. Their idols are on the animals and on the cattle. The things that you carried about are made a load, a burden to the weary animal. They stoop, they bow down together. They could not deliver the burden, but themselves are gone into captivity. Listen to me, house of Jacob, and all the remnant of the house of Israel, that have been born by me from their birth, that have been carried from the womb, and even to old age I am he, and even to gray hairs will I carry you. I have made, and I will bear, yes, I will carry and will deliver. To whom will you liken me, and make me equal, and compare me, that we may be alike? Some pour out gold from the bag, and weigh silver in the balance. They hire a goldsmith, and he makes it a god. They fall down, yes, they worship. They bear it on the shoulder, they carry it, and set it in its place, and it stands. From its place it shall not move. Yes, one may cry to it, yet it cannot answer, nor save him out of his trouble. Remember this, and show yourselves men. Bring it again to mind, you transgressors. Remember the former things of old, for I am God, and there is none else. I am God, and there is none like me, declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times things that are not yet done, saying, My counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. Calling a ravenous bird from the east, the man of my counsel from a far country, Yes, I have spoken, I will also bring it to pass. I have purposed, I will also do it. Listen to me, you stout-hearted who are far from righteousness. I will bring near my righteousness, it shall not be far off, and my salvation shall not wait. And I will place salvation in Zion for Israel my glory.
Chapter 47. Come down and sit in the dust, virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground without a throne, daughter of the Chaldeans. For you shall no more be called tender and delicate. Take the millstones and grind meal. Remove your veil, strip off the train, uncover the leg, pass through the rivers. Your nakedness shall be uncovered, yes, your shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance and will spare no man. Our Redeemer, the Lord of hosts is his name, the Holy One of Israel. Sit you silent, and get you into darkness, daughter of the Chaldeans, for you shall no more be called the mistress of the kingdoms. I was angry with my people. I profaned my inheritance, and gave them into your hand. You did show them no mercy. On the aged you have laid a very heavy yoke. You said, I shall be mistress forever, so that you did not lay these things to your heart, neither did remember the latter end of it. Now therefore hear this, you who are given to pleasures, who sit securely, who say in your heart, I am, and there is none else besides me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. But these two things shall come to you in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood. In their full measure shall they come on you, in the multitude of your sorceries, and the great abundance of your enchantments. For you have trusted in your wickedness. You have said, none sees me. Your wisdom and your knowledge it has perverted you, and you have said in your heart, I am, and there is none else besides me. Therefore shall evil come on you. You shall not know the dawning of it, and mischief shall fall on you. You shall not be able to put it away. And desolation shall come on you suddenly, which you don't know. Stand now with your enchantments, and with the multitude of your sorceries in which you have labored from your youth. If so be, you shall be able to profit. If so be, you may prevail. You are wearied in the multitude of your counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save you from the things that shall come on you. Behold, they shall be as stubble, the fire shall burn them. They shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. It shall not be a coal to warm at, nor a fire to sit before. Thus shall the things be to you in which you have labored. Those who have trafficked with you from your youth shall wander every one to his quarter. There shall be none to save you. Chapter 48. Hear you this, house of Jacob, who are called by the name of Israel, and are come forth out of the waters of Judah, who swear by the name of the Lord, and make mention of the God of Israel, but not in truth, nor in righteousness. For they call themselves of the holy city, and stay themselves on the God of Israel, the Lord of hosts is his name. I have declared the former things from of old. Yes, they went forth out of my mouth, and I have shown them, and suddenly did them, and they happened. Because I knew that you are obstinate, and your neck is an iron sinew, and your brow brass. Therefore I have declared it to you from of old. Before it came to pass I showed it to you, lest you should say, My idol has done them, and my engraved image and my molten image has commanded them. You have heard it. See all this, and will you not declare it? I have shown you new things from this time, even hidden things which you have not known. They are created now and not from of old. And before this day you didn't hear them, lest you should say, Behold, I knew them. Yes, you didn't hear, yes, you didn't know. Yes, from of old your ear was not opened. For I knew that you did deal very treacherously, and was called a transgressor from the womb. For my name's sake I will defer my anger, and for my praise I will refrain for you, that I not cut you off. Behold, I have refined you, but not as silver. I have chosen you in the furnace of affliction. For my own sake I will do it. For how should my name be profaned?
and my glory I will not give to another. Listen to me, O Jacob, and Israel my called. I am he, I am the first, I am also the last. Yes, my hand has laid the foundation of the earth, and my right hand has spread out the heavens. When I call to them, they stand up together. Assemble yourselves, all you, and hear. Who among them has declared these things? He whom the Lord loves shall perform his pleasure on Babylon, and his arm shall be on the Chaldeans. I, even I, have spoken, yes, I have called him. I have brought him, and he shall make his way prosperous. Come you near to me, hear you this. From the beginning I have not spoken in secret. From the time that it was, there I am, and now the Lord God has sent me, and his Spirit. Thus says the Lord your Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel. I am the Lord your God, who teaches you to profit, who leads you by the way that you should go. Oh, that you had listened to my commandments! Then had your peace been as a river, and your righteousness as the waves of the sea. Your seed also had been as the sand, and the offspring of your loins like the grains of it. His name would not be cut off nor destroyed from before me. Go forth from Babylon, flee from the Chaldeans. With a voice of singing declare, tell this, utter it even to the ends of the earth. Say, the Lord has redeemed his servant Jacob. They didn't thirst when he led them through the deserts. He caused the waters to flow out of the rock for them. He split the rock also, and the waters gushed out. There is no peace, says the Lord, to the wicked. Chapter 49. Listen, isles, to me, and listen, you peoples from far. The Lord has called me from the womb. From the bowels of my mother has he made mention of my name, and he has made my mouth like a sharp sword. In the shadow of his hand has he hid me, and he has made me a polished shaft. In his quiver has he kept me close, and said to me, You are my servant, Israel, in whom I will be glorified. But I said, I have labored in vain, I have spent my strength for nothing, and vanity. Yet surely the justice due to me is with the Lord, and my recompense with my God. Now says the Lord, who formed me from the womb to be his servant, to bring Jacob again to him, and that Israel be gathered to him. For I am honorable in the eyes of the Lord, and my God has become my strength. Yes, he says, It is too light a thing that you should be my servant, to raise up the tribes of Jacob, and to restore the preserved of Israel. I will also give you for a light to the Gentiles, that you may be my salvation to the end of the earth. Thus says the Lord, the Redeemer of Israel and his Holy One, to him whom man despises, to him whom the nation abhors, to a servant of rulers. Kings shall see and arise, princes, and they shall worship, because of the Lord who is faithful, even the Holy One of Israel who has chosen you. Thus says the Lord, In an acceptable time have I answered you, and in a day of salvation have I helped you, and I will preserve you, and give you for a covenant of the people, to raise up the land, to make them inherit the desolate heritage, saying to those who are bound, Go forth, to those who are in darkness, show yourselves. They shall feed in the ways, and on all bare heights shall be their pasture. They shall not hunger nor thirst, neither shall the heat nor sun strike them. For he who has mercy on them will lead them, even by springs of water will he guide them. I will make all my mountains a way, and my highways shall be exalted. Behold, these shall come from far, and behold, these from the north, and from the west, and these from the land of Sinim. Sing, heavens, and be joyful, earth, and break forth into singing, mountains, for the Lord has comforted his people, and will have compassion on his afflicted. But Zion said, The Lord has forsaken me, and the Lord has forgotten me. Can a woman forget her sucking child, that she should not have compassion on the son of her womb? Yes, these may forget, yet I will not forget you. Behold, I have engraved you on the palms of my hands. Your walls are continually before me. Your children make haste. Your destroyers and those who made you waste shall go forth from you.
Lift up your eyes round about and see. All these gather themselves together and come to you. As I live, says the Lord, you shall surely clothe you with them all as with an ornament, and gird yourself with them like a bride. For, as for your waste and your desolate places, and your land that has been destroyed, surely now you shall be too small for the inhabitants, and those who swallowed you up shall be far away. The children of your bereavement shall yet say in your ears, The place is too small for me. Give place to me that I may dwell. Then shall you say in your heart, Who has conceived these for me, seeing I have been bereaved of my children, and am solitary, an exile, and wandering back and forth? And who has brought up these? Behold, I was left alone. These, where were they? Thus says the Lord God, Behold, I will lift up my hand to the nations, and set up my sign to the peoples, and they shall bring your sons in their bosom, and your daughters shall be carried on their shoulders. Kings shall be your nursing fathers, and their queens your nursing mothers. They shall bow down to you with their faces to the earth, and lick the dust of your feet. And you shall know that I am the Lord, and those who wait for me shall not be disappointed. Shall the prey be taken from the mighty, or the lawful captives be delivered? But thus says the Lord, Even the captives of the mighty shall be taken away, and the prey of the terrible shall be delivered. For I will contend with him who contends with you, and I will save your children. I will feed those who oppress you with their own flesh, and they shall be drunken with their own blood, as with sweet wine. And all flesh shall know that I, the Lord, am your Savior and your Redeemer, the Mighty One of Jacob. Chapter 50. Thus says the Lord, Where is the bill of your mother's divorce, with which I have put her away? Or of which of my creditors is it to whom I have sold you? Behold, for your iniquities were you sold, and for your transgressions was your mother put away. Why, when I came, was there no man? When I called, was there no one to answer? Is my hand shortened at all that it can't redeem? Or have I no power to deliver? Behold, at my rebuke I dry up the sea. I make the rivers a wilderness. Their fish stink, because there is no water, and die for thirst. I clothe the heavens with blackness, and I make sackcloth their covering. The Lord God has given me the tongue of those who are taught, that I may know how to sustain with words him who is weary. He wakens morning by morning. He wakens my ear to hear as those who are taught. The Lord God has opened my ear, and I was not rebellious, neither turned away backward. I gave my back to the strikers, and my cheeks to those who plucked off the hair. I didn't hide my face from shame and spitting. For the Lord God will help me. Therefore I have not been confounded. Therefore have I set my face like a flint, and I know that I shall not be disappointed. He is near who justifies me. Who will bring charges against me? Let us stand up together. Who is my adversary? Let him come near to me. Behold, the Lord God will help me. Who is he who shall condemn me? Behold, all they shall wax old as a garment. The moth shall eat them up. Who is among you who fears the Lord, who obeys the voice of his servant? He who walks in darkness and has no light, let him trust in the name of the Lord, and rely on his God. Behold, all you who kindle a fire, who gird yourselves about with firebrands, walk you in the flame of your fire, and among the brands that you have kindled. This you shall have of my hand, you shall lie down in sorrow. Chapter 51. Listen to me, you who follow after righteousness, you who seek the Lord. Look to the rock whence you were hewn, and to the hold of the pit which you were dug. Look to Abraham your father, and to Sarah who bore you. For when he was but one I called him, and I blessed him and made him many. For the Lord has comforted Zion. He has comforted all her waste places, and made her wilderness like Eden, and her desert like the garden of the Lord. Joy and gladness shall be found therein, thanksgiving, and the voice of melody. Attend to me, my people, and give ear to me, my nation, for a law shall go forth from me, and I will establish my justice for a light of the peoples. My righteousness is near,
My salvation is gone forth, and my arm shall judge the peoples. The isles shall wait for me, and on my arm shall they trust. Lift up your eyes to the heavens, and look on the earth beneath. For the heavens shall vanish away like smoke, and the earth shall wax old like a garment, and those who dwell therein shall die in like manner. But my salvation shall be forever, and my righteousness shall not be abolished. Listen to me, you who know righteousness, the people in whose heart is my law. Don't you fear the reproach of men, neither be you dismayed at their insults. For the moth shall eat them up like a garment, and the worm shall eat them like wool. But my righteousness shall be forever, and my salvation to all generations. Awake, awake, put on strength, arm of the Lord. Awake as in the days of old, the generations of ancient times. Isn't it you who did cut Rahab in pieces, who pierced the monster? Isn't it you who dried up the sea, the waters of the great deep, who made the depths of the sea a way for the redeemed to pass over? The ransomed of the Lord shall return, and come with singing to Zion, and everlasting joy shall be on their heads. They shall obtain gladness and joy, and sorrow and sighing shall flee away. I, even I, am he who comforts you. Who are you that you are afraid of man who shall die, and of the Son of Man who shall be made as grass, and have forgotten the Lord your Maker, who stretched forth the heavens, and laid the foundations of the earth, and fear continually all the day because of the fury of the oppressor, when he makes ready to destroy? And where is the fury of the oppressor? The captive exile shall speedily be freed, and he shall not die and go down into the pit, neither shall his bread fail. For I am the Lord your God, who stirs up the sea, so that the waves of it roar. The Lord of hosts is his name. I have put my words in your mouth, and have covered you in the shadow of my hand, that I may plant the heavens, and lay the foundations of the earth, and tell Zion, you are my people. Awake, awake, stand up, Jerusalem, that have drunk at the hand of the Lord the cup of his wrath. You have drunken the bowl of the cup of staggering, and drained it. There is none to guide her among all the sons whom she has brought forth, neither is there anyone who takes her by the hands among the sons she has brought up. These two things have happened to you. Who will bemoan you? Desolation and destruction, and the famine and the sword. How shall I comfort you? Your sons have fainted. They lie at the head of all the streets, as an antelope in a net. They are full of the wrath of the Lord, the rebuke of your God. Therefore hear now this, you afflicted and drunken, but not with wine. Thus says the Lord God, who pleads the cause of his people. Behold, I have taken out of your hand the cup of staggering, even the bowl of the cup of my wrath. You shall no more drink it again. And I will put it into the hand of those who afflict you, who have said to your soul, bow down, that we may go over. And you have laid your back as the ground, and as the street, to those who go over. Chapter 52. Awake, awake, put on your strength, Zion. Put on your beautiful garments, Jerusalem, the holy city. For henceforth there shall no more come into you the uncircumcised and the unclean. Shake yourself from the dust. Arise, sit on your throne, Jerusalem. Loose yourselves from the bonds of your neck, captive daughter of Zion. For thus says the Lord, you were sold for nothing, and you shall be redeemed without money. For thus says the Lord God, my people went down at first into Egypt to sojourn there, and the Assyrian has oppressed them without cause. Now therefore, what do I hear, says the Lord, seeing that my people is taken away for nothing? Those who rule over them do howl, says the Lord, and my name continually all the day is blasphemed. Therefore my people shall know my name. Therefore they shall know in that day that I am he who does speak. Behold, it is I. How beautiful on the mountains are the feet of him who brings good news, who publishes peace, who brings good news of good, who publishes salvation, who says to Zion, your God reigns. The voice of your watchmen, they lift up the voice, together do they sing, for they shall see eye to eye when the Lord returns to Zion. Break forth into joy, sing together, you waste places of Jerusalem. For the Lord has comforted his people, he has redeemed Jerusalem. The Lord has made bare his holy arm in the eyes of all the nations, and all the ends of the earth have seen the salvation of our God. Depart you, go out from there, touch no unclean thing. Go out from the midst of her, cleanse yourselves, you who bear the vessels of the Lord. For you shall not go out in haste, neither shall you go by flight. For the Lord will go before you, and the God of Israel will be your rear guard. Behold, my servant shall deal wisely. He shall be exalted and lifted up, and shall be very high. Like as many were astonished at you. His visage was so marred, more than any man, and his form more than the sons of men. So shall he sprinkle many nations. Kings shall shut their mouths at him. For that which had not been told them they shall see, and that which they had not heard they shall understand. Chapter 53. Who has believed our message, and to whom has the arm of the Lord been revealed? For he grew up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of a dry ground. He has no form nor comeliness, and when we see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him. He was despised and rejected by men, a man of suffering, and acquainted with disease, and as one from whom men hide their face was he despised, and we didn't respect him. Surely he has borne our sickness, and carried our suffering. Yet we considered him plagued, struck by God, and afflicted. But he was pierced for our transgressions, he was crushed for our iniquities. The punishment that brought our peace was on him, and by his wounds we are healed. All we like sheep have gone astray, everyone has turned to his own way, and the Lord has laid on him the iniquity of us all. He was oppressed, yet when he was afflicted he didn't open his mouth. As a lamb that is led to the slaughter, and as a sheep that before its shearers is mute, so he didn't open his mouth. By oppression and judgment he was taken away. And as for his generation, who among them considered that he was cut off out of the land of the living for the disobedience of my people, to whom the stroke was due? They made his grave with the wicked, and with the rich man in his death, although he had done no violence, neither was any deceit in his mouth. Yet it pleased the Lord to bruise him, he has put him to grief. When you shall make his soul an offering for sin, he shall see his seed, he shall prolong his days, and the pleasure of the Lord shall prosper in his hand. He shall see of the travail of his soul, and shall be satisfied. By the knowledge of himself shall my righteous servant justify many, and he shall bear their iniquities. Therefore will I divide him a portion with the great, and he shall divide the spoil with the strong, because he poured out his soul to death, and was numbered with the transgressors. Yet he bore the sin of many, and made intercession for the transgressors. Chapter 54. Sing, barren, you who didn't bear. Break forth into singing, and cry aloud, you who did not travail with child. For more are the children of the desolate than the children of the married wife, says the Lord. Enlarge the place of your tent, and let them stretch forth the curtains of your habitations. Don't spare. Lengthen your cords, and strengthen your stakes. For you shall spread abroad on the right hand and on the left, and your seed shall possess the nations, and make the desolate cities to be inhabited. Don't be afraid, for you shall not be ashamed, neither be confounded, for you shall not be disappointed, for you shall forget the shame of your youth, and the reproach of your widowhood you shall remember no more. For your Maker is your husband, the Lord of hosts is his name, and the Holy One of Israel is your Redeemer. The God of the whole earth shall he be called. For the Lord has called you as a wife forsaken and grieved in spirit, even a wife of youth, when she is cast off, says your God. For a small moment have I forsaken you, but with great mercies I will gather you. In overflowing wrath I hid my face from you for a moment, but with everlasting loving kindness will I have mercy on you, says the Lord your Redeemer. For this is as the waters of Noah to me. For as I have sworn that the waters of Noah shall no more go over the earth, so have I sworn that I will not be angry with you, nor rebuke you. For the mountains may depart, and the hills be removed, But my loving kindness shall not depart from you, neither shall my covenant of peace be removed, says the Lord, who has mercy on you, you afflicted and tossed with tempest, and not comforted. Behold, I will set your stones in beautiful colors, and lay your foundations with sapphires. I will make your pinnacles of rubies, and your gates of emeralds, and all your border of precious stones. All your children shall be taught of the Lord, and great shall be the peace of your children. In righteousness shall you be established. You shall be far from oppression, for you shall not be afraid, and from terror, for it shall not come near you. Behold, they may gather together, but not by me. Whoever shall gather together against you shall fall because of you. Behold, I have created the smith who blows the fire of coals, and brings forth a weapon for his work, and I have created the waster to destroy. No weapon that is formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against you in judgment you shall condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and their righteousness which is of me, says the Lord. Chapter 55. Ho, everyone who thirsts, come you to the waters, and he who has no money, come, buy and eat. Yes, come, buy wine and milk, without money and without price. Why do you spend money for that which is not bread, and your labor for that which doesn't satisfy? Listen diligently to me, and eat that which is good, and let your soul delight itself in fatness. Turn your ear and come to me, hear, and your soul shall live, and I will make an everlasting covenant with you, even the sure mercies of David. Behold, I have given him for a witness to the peoples, a leader and a commander to the peoples. Behold, you shall call a nation that you don't know, and a nation that didn't know you shall run to you, because of the Lord your God, and for the Holy One of Israel, for he has glorified you. Seek the Lord while he may be found, and call on him while he is near. Let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thought, and let him return to the Lord, and he will have mercy on him, and to our God, for he will abundantly pardon. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, says the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. For as the rain comes down, and the snow from the sky, and doesn't return there, but waters the earth, and makes it bring forth and bud, and gives seed to the sower, and bread to the eater, so shall my word be that goes forth out of my mouth. It shall not return to me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it. For you shall go out with joy, and be led forth with peace. The mountains and the hills shall break forth before you into singing, and all the trees of the fields shall clap their hands. Instead of the thorn shall come up the fir tree, and instead of the brier shall come up the myrtle tree, and it shall be to the Lord for a name, for an everlasting sign that shall not be cut off. Chapter 56. Thus says the Lord, keep you justice, and do righteousness, for my salvation is near to come, and my righteousness to be revealed. Blessed is the man who does this, and the Son of Man who holds it fast, who keeps the Sabbath from profaning it, and keeps his hand from doing any evil. Neither let the foreigner who has joined himself to the Lord speak, saying, the Lord will surely separate me from his people. Neither let the eunuch say, behold, I am a dry tree. For thus says the Lord of the eunuchs who keep my Sabbath, and choose the things that please me, and hold fast my covenant. To them will I give in my house, and within my walls a memorial, and a name better than of sons and of daughters. I will give them an everlasting name that shall not be cut off. Also the foreigners who join themselves to the Lord, to minister to him, and to love the name of the Lord, to be his servants, everyone who keeps the Sabbath from profaning it, and holds fast my covenant, even them will I bring to my holy mountain, and make them joyful in my house of prayer. Their burnt offerings and their sacrifices shall be accepted on my altar, for my house shall be called a house of prayer for all peoples. The Lord God, who gathers the outcast of Israel, says, yet will I gather others to him, besides his own who are gathered. All of you animals of the field come to devour, yes, all you animals in the forest. His watchmen are blind. They are all without knowledge. They are all mute dogs. They can't bark, dreaming, lying down, loving to slumber. Yes, the dogs are greedy. They can never have enough. And these are shepherds who can't understand. They have all turned to their own way, each one to his gain from every quarter. Come, they say, I will get wine, and we will fill ourselves with strong drink, and tomorrow shall be as this day, a great day beyond measure. Chapter 57. The righteous perishes, and no man lays it to heart, and merciful men are taken away, none considering that the righteous is taken away from the evil to come. He enters into peace. They rest in their beds, each one who walks in his uprightness. But draw near here, you sons of the sorceress, the seed of the adulterer and the prostitute. Against whom do you sport yourselves? Against whom make you a wide mouth, and put out the tongue? Aren't you children of disobedience, a seed of falsehood, you who inflame yourselves among the oaks, under every green tree, who kill the children in the valleys, under the clefts of the rocks? Among the smooth stones of the valley is your portion. They are your lot. Even to them have you poured a drink offering. You have offered an offering. Should I be appeased for these things? On a high and lofty mountain have you set your bed. There also you went up to offer sacrifice. Behind the doors and the post have you set up your memorial, for you have uncovered yourself to another than me, and are gone up. You have enlarged your bed, and made you a covenant with them. You loved their bed where you saw it. You went to the king with oil, and did increase your perfumes, and did send your ambassadors far off, and did debase yourself even to the grave. You were wearied with the length of your way, yet you didn't say, it is in vain. You found a reviving of your strength, therefore you weren't faint. Of whom have you been afraid and in fear that you lie, and have not remembered me, nor laid it to your heart? Haven't I held my peace even of a long time, and you don't fear me? I will declare your righteousness, and as for your works, they shall not profit you. When you cry, let those who you have gathered deliver you, but the wind shall take them, a breath shall carry them all away. But he who takes refuge in me shall possess the land, and shall inherit my holy mountain. He will say, cast up, prepare the way. Take up the stumbling block out of the way of my people. For thus says the high and lofty one who inhabits eternity, whose name is holy. I dwell in the high and holy place, with him also who is of a contrite and humble spirit, to revive the spirit of the humble, and to revive the heart of the contrite. For I will not contend forever, neither will I be always hungry, for the spirit would faint before me and the souls who I have made. For the iniquity of his covetousness I was angry and struck him. I hid my face and was angry, and he went on backsliding in the way of his heart. I have seen his ways and will heal him. I will lead him also and restore comforts to him and to his mourners. I create the fruit of the lips. Peace, peace to him who is far off and to him who is near, says the Lord, and I will heal him. But the wicked are like the troubled sea, for it can't rest, and its waters cast up mire and dirt. There is no peace, says my God, to the wicked. 58. Cry aloud, don't spare, lift up your voice like a trumpet, and declare to my people their disobedience, and to the house of Jacob their sins. Yet they seek me daily, and delight to know my ways, as a nation that did righteousness, and didn't forsake the ordinance of their God. They ask of me righteous judgments, they delight to draw near to God. Why have we fasted, they say, and you don't see? Why have we afflicted our soul, and you take no knowledge? Behold, in the day of your fast you find your own pleasure, and exact all your labors. Behold, you fast for strife and contention, and to strike with the fist of wickedness. You don't fast this day so as to make your voice to be heard on high. Is such the fast that I have chosen, the day for a man to afflict his soul? Is it to bow down his head as a rush, and to spread sackcloth and ashes under him? Will you call this a fast and an acceptable day to the Lord? Isn't this the fast that I have chosen, to loose the bonds of wickedness, to undo the bands of the yoke, and to let the oppressed go free, and that you break every yoke? Isn't it to deal your bread to the hungry, and that you bring the poor who are cast out to your house? When you see the naked, that you cover him, and that you not hide yourself from your own flesh? Then shall your light break forth as the morning, and your healing shall spring forth speedily, and your righteousness shall go before you. The glory of the Lord shall be your rear guard. Then shall you call, and the Lord will answer. You shall cry, and he will say, Here I am. If you take away from the midst of you the yoke, the putting forth of the finger and speaking wickedly, and if you draw out your soul to the hungry, and satisfy the afflicted soul, then shall your light rise in darkness, and your obscurity shall be as the noonday. And the Lord will guide you continually, and satisfy your soul in dry places, and make strong your bones, and you shall be like a watered garden, and like a spring of water whose waters don't fail. Those who shall be of you shall build the waste places. You shall raise up the foundations of many generations, and you shall be called the repairer of the breach, the restorer of paths to dwell in. If you turn away your foot from the Sabbath, from doing your pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight, and the holy of the Lord honorable, and shall honor it, not doing your own ways, nor finding your own pleasure, nor speaking your own words, then shall you delight yourself in the Lord, and I will make you to ride on the high places of the earth, and I will feed you with the heritage of Jacob your father, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken. Chapter 59. Behold, the Lord's hand is not shortened that it can't save, neither his ear heavy that it can't hear. But your iniquities have separated between you and your God, and your sins have hidden his face from you, so that he will not hear. For your hands are defiled with blood, and your fingers with iniquity. Your lips have spoken lies, your tongue mutters wickedness. None sues in righteousness, and none pleads in truth. They trust in vanity and speak lies. They conceive mischief and bring forth iniquity. They hatch adder's eggs, and weave the spider's web. He who eats of their eggs dies, and that which is crushed breaks out into a viper. Their webs shall not become garments, neither shall they cover themselves with their works. Their works are works of iniquity, and the act of violence is in their hands. The feet run to evil, and they make haste to shed innocent blood. Their thoughts are thoughts of iniquity. Desolation and destruction are in their paths. The way of peace they don't know, and there is no justice in their goings. They have made them crooked paths. Whoever goes therein does not know peace. Therefore is justice far from us, neither does righteousness overtake us. We look for light, but behold darkness, for brightness, but we walk in obscurity. We grope for the wall like the blind, yes, we grope as those who have no eyes. We stumble at noonday as in the twilight. Among those who are lusty we are as dead men. We roar all like bears, and moan sore like doves. We look for justice, but there is none, for salvation, but it is far off from us. For our transgressions are multiplied before you, and our sins testify against us. For our transgressions are with us, and as for our iniquities, we know them. Transgressing and denying the Lord, and turning away from following our God, speaking oppression and revolt, conceiving and uttering from the heart words of falsehood. Justice is turned away backward, and righteousness stands afar off. For truth is fallen in the street, and uprightness can't enter. Yes, truth is lacking, and he who departs from evil makes himself a prey. The Lord saw it, and it displeased him that there was no justice. He saw that there was no man, and wondered that there was no intercessor. Therefore his own arm brought salvation to him, and his righteousness, it upheld him. He put on righteousness as a breastplate, and a helmet of salvation on his head. And he put on garments of vengeance for clothing, and was clad with zeal as a mantle. According to their deeds, accordingly he will repay, wrath to his adversaries, recompense to his enemies. To the islands he will repay recompense. So shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. For he will come as a rushing stream, which the breath of the Lord drives. A Redeemer will come to Zion, and to those who turn from disobedience in Jacob, says the Lord. As for me, this is my covenant with them, says the Lord. My Spirit who is on you, and my words which I have put in your mouth, shall not depart out of your mouth, nor out of the mouth of your seed, nor out of the mouth of your seed, says the Lord, from henceforth and forever. Chapter 60. Arise, shine, for your light is come, and the glory of the Lord is risen on you. For behold, darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the peoples. But the Lord will arise on you, and his glory shall be seen on you. Nations shall come to your light, and kings to the brightness of your rising. Lift up your eyes round about and see. They all gather themselves together. They come to you. Your sons shall come from far, and your daughters shall be carried in the arms. Then you shall see and be radiant, and your heart shall thrill and be enlarged, because the abundance of the sea shall be turned to you. The wealth of the nations shall come to you. The multitude of camels shall cover you, the dromedaries of Midian and Ephah. All they from Sheba shall come. They shall bring gold and frankincense, and shall proclaim the praises of the Lord. All the flocks of Kedar shall be gathered together to you. The rams of Nebaioth shall minister to you. They shall come up with an acceptance on my altar, and I will glorify the house of my glory. Who are these who fly as a cloud, and as the doves to their windows? Surely the isles shall wait for me, and the ships of Tarshish first, to bring your sons from far, their silver and their gold with them, for the name of the Lord your God, and for the Holy One of Israel, because he has glorified you. Foreigners shall build up your walls, and their kings shall minister to you. For in my wrath I struck you, but in my favor have I had mercy on you. Your gates also shall be open continually. They shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring to you the wealth of the nations, and their kings led captive. For that nation and kingdom that will not serve you shall perish. Yes, those nations shall be utterly wasted. The glory of Lebanon shall come to you, the fir tree, the pine, and the box tree together, to beautify the place of my sanctuary. And I will make the place of my feet glorious. The sons of those who afflicted you shall come bending to you, and all those who despised you shall bow themselves down at the soles of your feet, and they shall call you the city of the Lord, the Zion of the Holy One of Israel. Whereas you have been forsaken and hated, so that no man pass through you, I will make you an eternal excellency, a joy of many generations. You shall also suck the milk of the nations, and shall suck the breast of kings, and you shall know that I, the Lord, am your Savior and your Redeemer, the mighty one of Jacob. For brass I will bring gold, and for iron I will bring silver, and for wood brass, and for stones iron. I will also make your officers peace, and righteousness your ruler. Violence shall no more be heard in your land, desolation nor destruction within your borders, but you shall call your wall salvation, and your gates praise. The sun shall be no more your light by day, neither for brightness shall the moon give light to you, but the Lord will be to you an everlasting light, and your God your glory. Your sun shall no more go down, neither shall your moon withdraw itself, for the Lord will be your everlasting light, and the days of your mourning shall be ended. Your people also shall be all righteous. They shall inherit the land forever, the branch of my planting, the work of my hands, that I may be glorified. The little one shall become 1,000, and the small one a strong nation. I, the Lord, will hasten it in its time. Chapter 61. The Spirit of the Lord God is on me, because the Lord has anointed me to preach good news to the humble. He has sent me to bind up the broken-hearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to those who are bound, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor, and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all who mourn, to appoint to those who mourn in Zion, to give to them a garland for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they may be called trees of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that he may be glorified. They shall build up the old waste, they shall raise up the former desolations, and they shall repair the waste cities, the desolations of many generations. Strangers shall stand and feed your flocks, and foreigners shall be your plowmen and your vine-dressers. But you shall be named the priest of the Lord. Men shall call you the ministers of our God. You shall eat the wealth of the nations, and in their glory shall you boast yourselves. Instead of your shame you shall have double, and instead of dishonor they shall rejoice in their portion. Therefore in their land they shall possess double, everlasting joy shall be to them. For I, the Lord, love justice, I hate robbery with iniquity, and I will give them their recompense in truth, and I will make an everlasting covenant with them. Their seed shall be known among the nations, and their offspring among the peoples. All who see them shall acknowledge them, that they are the seed which the Lord has blessed. I will greatly rejoice in the Lord. My soul shall be joyful in my God, for he has clothed me with the garments of salvation. He has covered me with the robe of righteousness, as a bridegroom decks himself with a garland, and as a bride adorns herself with her jewels. For as the earth brings forth its bud, and as the garden causes the things that are sown in it to spring forth, so the Lord God will cause righteousness and praise to spring forth before all the nations. Chapter 62. For Zion's sake I will not hold my peace, and for Jerusalem's sake I will not rest, until her righteousness goes forth as brightness, and her salvation as a lamp that burns. The nations shall see your righteousness, and all kings your glory, and you shall be called by a new name, which the mouth of the Lord shall name. You shall also be a crown of beauty in the hand of the Lord, and a royal diadem in the hand of your God. You shall no more be termed forsaken, neither shall your land any more be termed desolate, but you shall be called Hephzibah, and your land Beulah, for the Lord delights in you. And your land shall be married, for as a young man marries a virgin, so shall your sons marry you. And as the bridegroom rejoices over the bride, so shall your God rejoice over you. I have set watchmen on your walls, Jerusalem. They shall never hold their peace day nor night. You who call on the Lord, take no rest, and give him no rest, until he establish, and until he make Jerusalem a praise in the earth. The Lord is sworn by his right hand, and by the arm of his strength. Surely I will no more give your grain to be food for your enemies, and foreigners shall not drink your new wine, for which you have labored. But those who have garnered it shall eat it, and praise the Lord, and those who have gathered it shall drink it in the courts of my sanctuary. Go through the gates, prepare you the way of the people. Cast up the highway, gather out the stones, lift up a sign for the peoples. Behold, the Lord has proclaimed to the end of the earth. Say you to the daughter of Zion, Behold, your salvation comes. Behold, his reward is with him, and his recompense before him. They shall call them the holy people, the redeemed of the Lord, and you shall be called sought out, a city not forsaken. Chapter 63. Who is this who comes from Edom, with dyed garments from Bozrah? This who is glorious in his clothing, marching in the greatness of his strength. I who speak in righteousness, mighty to save. Why are you red in your clothing, and your garments like him who treads in the wine-vat? I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the peoples there was no man with me. Yes, I trod them in my anger, and trampled them in my wrath, and their lifeblood is sprinkled on my garments, and I have stained all my clothing. For the day of vengeance was in my heart, and the year of my redeemed is come. I looked, and there was none to help, and I wondered that there was none to uphold. Therefore my own arm brought salvation to me, and my wrath it upheld me. I trod down the peoples in my anger, and made them drunk in my wrath, and I poured out their lifeblood on the earth. I will make mention of the loving kindness of the Lord, and the praises of the Lord, according to all that the Lord has bestowed on us, and the great goodness toward the house of Israel, which he has bestowed on them according to his mercies, and according to the multitude of his loving kindnesses. For he said, Surely they are my people, children who will not deal falsely. So he was their Savior. In all their affliction he was afflicted, and the angel of his presence saved them. In his love and in his pity he redeemed them, and he bore them and carried them all the days of old. But they rebelled, and grieved his Holy Spirit. Therefore he was turned to be their enemy, and himself fought against them. Then he remembered the days of old, Moses and his people, saying, Where is he who brought them up out of the sea with the shepherds of his flock? Where is he who put his Holy Spirit in the midst of them, who caused his glorious arm to go at the right hand of Moses, who divided the waters before them, to make himself an everlasting name, who led them through the depths, as a horse in the wilderness, so that they didn't stumble? As the cattle that go down into the valley, the Spirit of the Lord caused them to rest. So did you lead your people to make yourself a glorious name. Look down from heaven, and see from the habitation of your holiness and of your glory, where are your zeal and your mighty acts? The yearning of your heart and your compassion is restrained toward me. For you are our Father, though Abraham doesn't know us, and Israel does not acknowledge us. You, Lord, are our Father. Our Redeemer from everlasting is your name. O Lord, why do you make us to err from your ways, and harden our heart from your fear? Return for your servants' sake the tribes of your inheritance. Your holy people possessed it but a little while. Our adversaries have trodden down your sanctuary. We are become as they over whom you never bear rule, as those who were not called by your name. Chapter 64. Oh, that you would tear the heavens, that you would come down, that the mountains might quake at your presence, as when fire kindles the brushwood, and the fire causes the waters to boil, to make your name known to your adversaries, that the nations may tremble at your presence. When you did terrible things which we didn't look for, you came down. The mountains quaked at your presence. For from of old men have not heard, nor perceived by the ear, neither has the eye seen a God besides you, who works for him who waits for him. You meet him who rejoices and works righteousness, those who remember you in your ways. Behold, you were angry, and we sinned. In them have we been of a long time, and shall we be saved? For we are all become as one who is unclean, and all our righteousness is as a polluted garment, and we all do fade as a leaf, and our iniquities like the wind take us away. There is none who calls on your name, who stirs up himself to take hold of you, for you have hid your face from us, and have consumed us by means of our iniquities. But now, Lord, you are our Father, we are the clay, and you are potter, and we are all the work of your hand. Don't be angry, Lord, neither remember our iniquity forever. See, look, we beg you, we are all your people. Your holy cities are become a wilderness. Zion is become a wilderness, Jerusalem a desolation. Our holy and our beautiful house, where our fathers praised you, is burned with fire, and all our pleasant places are laid waste. Will you refrain yourself for these things, O Lord? Will you hold your peace, and they afflict us very sore? Chapter 65. I am inquired of by those who didn't ask. I am found by those who didn't seek me. I said, see me, to a nation that was not called by my name. I have spread out my hands all the day to a rebellious people, who walk in a way that is not good, after their own thoughts, a people who provoke me to my face continually, sacrificing in gardens, and burning incense on bricks, who sit among the graves, and lodge in the secret places, who eat pig's flesh, and broth of abominable things is in their vessels, who say, stand by yourself, don't come near to me, for I am holier than you. These are a smoke in my nose, a fire that burns all the day. Behold, it is written before me, I will not keep silence, but will recompense, yes, I will recompense into their bosom your own iniquities, and the iniquities of your fathers together, says the Lord, who have burned incense on the mountains, and blasphemed me on the hills. Therefore will I first measure their work into their bosom. Thus says the Lord, as the new wine is found in the cluster, and one says, Don't destroy it, for a blessing is in it, so will I do for my servant's sake, that I may not destroy them all. I will bring forth a seed out of Jacob, and out of Judah an inheritor of my mountains, and my chosen shall inherit it, and my servant shall dwell there. Sharon shall be a fold of flocks, and the valley of Achor a place for herds to lie down in, for my people who have sought me. But you who forsake the Lord, who forget my holy mountain, who prepare a table for fortune, and who fill up mixed wine to destiny, I will destine you to the sword, and you shall all bow down to the slaughter, because when I called you didn't answer, when I spoke you did not hear. But you did that which was evil in my eyes, and chose that in which I didn't delight. Therefore thus says the Lord God, Behold, my servants shall eat, but you shall be hungry. Behold, my servants shall drink, but you shall be thirsty. Behold, my servants shall rejoice, but you shall be disappointed. Behold, my servants shall sing for joy of heart, but you shall cry for sorrow of heart, and shall wail for vexation of spirit. You shall leave your name for a curse to my chosen, and the Lord God will kill you, and he will call his servants by another name, so that he who blesses himself in the earth shall bless himself in the God of truth, and he who swears in the earth shall swear by the God of truth, because the former troubles are forgotten, and because they are hid from my eyes. For behold, I create new heavens and a new earth, and the former things shall not be remembered, nor come into mind. But you, be glad and rejoice forever in that which I create. For behold, I create Jerusalem a rejoicing, and her people a joy. I will rejoice in Jerusalem and joy in my people, and there shall be heard in her no more the voice of weeping and the voice of crying. There shall be no more there an infant of days, nor an old man who has not filled his days. For the child shall die 100 years old, and the sinner being 100 years old shall be counted accursed. They shall build houses and inhabit them, and they shall plant vineyards and eat the fruit of them. They shall not build and another inhabit, they shall not plant and another eat. For as the days of a tree shall be the days of my people, and my chosen shall long enjoy the work of their hands. They shall not labor in vain, nor bring forth for calamity, for they are the seed of the blessed of the Lord, and their offspring with them. It shall happen that before they call I will answer, and while they are yet speaking I will hear. The wolf and the lamb shall feed together, and the lion shall eat straw like the ox, and dust shall be the serpent's food. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, says the Lord. Chapter 66. Thus says the Lord, Heaven is my throne, and the earth is my footstool. What manner of house will you build for me, and what place shall be my rest? For all these things has my hand made, and so all these things came to be, says the Lord. But to this man will I look, even to him who is poor and of a contrite spirit, and who trembles at my word. He who kills an ox is as he who kills a man. He who sacrifices a lamb as he who breaks a dog's neck. He who offers an offering as he who offers pig's blood. He who burns frankincense as he who blesses an idol. Yes, they have chosen their own ways, and their soul delights in their abominations. I also will choose their delusions, and will bring their fears on them, because when I called none did answer. When I spoke they did not hear, but they did that which was evil in my eyes, and chose that in which I didn't delight. Hear the word of the Lord, you who tremble at his word. Your brothers who hate you, who cast you out for my name's sake, have said, Let the Lord be glorified, that we may see your joy. But it is those who shall be disappointed. A voice of tumult from the city, a voice from the temple, a voice of the Lord that renders recompense to his enemies. Before she travailed, she brought forth. Before her pain came, she was delivered of a man-child. Who has heard such a thing? Who has seen such things? Shall a land be born in one day? Shall a nation be brought forth at once? For as soon as Zion travailed, she brought forth her children. Shall I bring to the birth and not cause to bring forth, says the Lord? Shall I who cause to bring forth shut the womb, says your God? Rejoice you with Jerusalem, and be glad for her, all you who love her. Rejoice for joy with her, all you who mourn over her, that you may suck and be satisfied with the breast of her consolations, that you may milk out and be delighted with the abundance of her glory. For thus says the Lord, Behold, I will extend peace to her like a river, and the glory of the nations like an overflowing stream, and you shall suck of it. You shall be borne on the side, and shall be dandled on the knees. As one whom his mother comforts, so will I comfort you, and you shall be comforted in Jerusalem. You shall see it, and your heart shall rejoice, and your bones shall flourish like the tender grass, and the hand of the Lord shall be known toward his servants, and he will have indignation against his enemies. For behold, the Lord will come with fire, and his chariot shall be like the whirlwind, to render his anger with fierceness, and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by fire will the Lord execute judgment, and by his sword on all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many. Those who sanctify themselves and purify themselves to go to the gardens, behind one in the midst, eating pig's flesh and the abomination and the mouse, they shall come to an end together, says the Lord. For I know their works and their thoughts. The time comes that I will gather all nations and languages, and they shall come and see my glory. I will set a sign among them, and I will send such as escape of them to the nations, to Tarshish, Pool, and Lud, who draw the bow, to Tubal and Javan, to the isles afar off, who have not heard my fame, neither have seen my glory. And they shall declare my glory among the nations. They shall bring all your brothers out of all the nations for an offering to the Lord, on horses and in chariots and in litters, and on mules and on dromedaries, to my holy mountain Jerusalem, says the Lord, as the children of Israel bring their offerings in a clean vessel into the house of the Lord. Of them also will I take for priests and for Levites, says the Lord. For as the new heavens and the new earth which I will make shall remain before me, says the Lord, so shall your seed and your name remain. It shall happen that from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me, says the Lord. They shall go forth and look on the dead bodies of the men who have transgressed against me, for their worm shall not die, neither shall their fire be quenched, and they shall be an abhorring to all flesh.